Welcome to the live stream. We are experiencing a little bit of snow today, and I am pretty much just hunkered down for the day, and it got me to thinking that maybe I'm not the only one. So I thought, what a great chance to just jump on just for the fun of it. And I thought I'd just come on here and just hang out a little bit, because I'm sure that there's other people just kind of stuck in front of the screen today, you know. So why not do a little something that's kind of productive? We can talk about the year coming up. And this does not interfere with tomorrow night's live stream. We will still have tomorrow night's live stream. We're going to continue to do that every Monday night at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. on Monday nights. So today's Sunday. We're just going to hang out and enjoy each other's company a little bit. Interact in the chat, if you will, so that I know that you're here. And I'll do my best to kind of direct the conversation tonight. I have no notes for tonight. So you guys already know that I'm pretty big on taking notes whenever I do these live streams. I like to have like an itinerary before I come on. I have none tonight. So we are completely free form. We can go anywhere, do anything we want. It is up to us. I will say, I want to close this blind a little bit so I'm being shined out. And I might even close those blinds behind me. I'm used to doing this at night. So I'm going to put some coffee on. I'm going to close these blinds. And then I think what I'm going to do is open that mapping program up, because I had some ideas from us the other night on the live stream. I had some ideas kind of occur to me. So I'm going to go over the map a little bit and talk about those with you. Very transparent. So I'm going to show you guys kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm looking forward to the spring bite. Welcome to the live chat. If you guys are excited for the spring bite, let me know. I'm going to shut these blinds so they're not... it's my nephew out back rolling. I don't know if you guys can see him. He's back here, though. You guys make him out there? He's back here by the trampoline. But anyways, I'm going to close these blinds just so it's not such a glare. It's a little better, I think. Might crack these blinds just a little bit. The lighting's important on these live streams, you know. And make sure I just got a shower, so I use a washcloth on my face. My face looks so red, guys. Wow. Anyways, welcome to the live stream. Appreciate you guys checking in. I just turned on some coffee. I'm gonna brew a pot of coffee and just sit here and talk with you. And I might just spend some time with you this afternoon, just going over the maps and stuff. If you guys are here, let me know in the chat. Say something. Say hi. But while we're kind of waiting, why don't we just jump right into the map here? I'll show you where I'm at, what I'm looking at. This is the beer barrel. So right over here is 7 points. So that would be the dock you would put on, the public dock. You come out here and you would turn right. You would go upstream and come over here, and this first big bay area you come to, that is Beer Barrel Bay. It's called the Beer Barrel because there's a submerged island out here. It's basically 100 feet all the way around it, and only about 25 feet right on top of this submerged island. So it's kind of interesting spot. You can go fish. A lot of people know it. It's kind of an iconic spot on Raystown Lake, as a matter of fact. But there's an area here around the Beer Barrel that I'm really curious about, and I thought I'd share that with you guys a little bit. Before I jump into that, I want to ask you guys if you'll do the favor of jumping over to my website. We have a few events coming up. And I want to make sure you guys know the registration for these is available. You can, of course, do the charters and all that stuff, but this is the one I'm talking to you about. It's on April 10th through the 12th, and it is called the Lewistown Rendezvous. There is a link here for doing a registration for it. As a matter of fact, I'll actually link that in the bottom of this video. So to register for the Lewistown Rendezvous, just look down below this video, and I'll make sure it's linked there for you. But do that registration for me. I appreciate it. The reason for that is because there's real expenses when we do any kind of these expositions. And I'm trying to bring more of these to the area so that we have a chance to get together and just talk fishing as a local community. This is an outreach thing. This is a thing that's not just kid-friendly, not kid-friendly alone, because it's definitely kid-friendly. We're going to have campfires and s'more cooking and camping and just all the stuff about Lewistown Lake. But I'm going to make those available to you in different ways so that it applies to different crowds. Like we do a kayaking trip every year. Lewistown Rendezvous, though, is specifically a camping and expo style gathering. It's the first chance, so it's like the beginning of the fishing season. It's the start of it, and then I have one scheduled for the end of it as well, called Fishin' and Chillin'. So this bookends on the fishing season, so you guys can join in. We can become a little community, and we can do well for one another here. But the registration is down below, or you can go to my website at randallrydes.com and just do anything you want there. Everything Randall Rydes at randallrydes.com, linked below. All right, let's get back to this window screen here, window share. So being that this is the beer barrel, you guys can see it's this submerged island here. But I am not concerned with this submerged island at all. When I look at the Beer Barrel Bay, I think there's better opportunities to fish it than the beer barrel itself. For one, you can just look at the pinch point. I talked to you guys a lot about pinch points. And when you have converging pinch points, it's of course just two reasons to check it out. So you guys can see right here, the original flow from the river came right through here. And so you have a pinch point to the right, a pinch point to the left. And you can actually see it drops off to the left here as well. So there's a little, it drops off, it drops into the bottom. So this is the bottom here, but you see this drop over here, and then there's a flat all along here that's about 100 feet deep, but that's a flattish area. It's kind of flat. So that's curious there. I would tell you that's a great spot to go and look for jigging Lakers. So it's a good spot. It's actually a lot bigger than this map. You might give with just looking at it just now with your eye, it's a lot bigger of an area to run around. Could you see how it's all the way out here about 100 foot, and then all the way into this pinch point and this rise up to the island? This area all in here is about right around 100 foot. And so that's a good spot for summer lake trout jigging, because they'll go down deep and you can jig on them. The other spot, though, that was really interesting, and I spoke on this just for a minute the other night in a live stream, is right here where the cursor's at. This little area right over in here. It's basically right in front of Point Campground. But this long draw out right here, it's got this pinch point, this solid side right here. The reason it became more interesting to me is because of water flow. When you get an area that's jutting up underwater and the current is kind of flowing into it, it catches on the front side of that and it has to go up and over. So what it creates is there's like a pressure spot there where there's good water flow and good bait and stuff. There's good food sources being fed into the front side of that wall that's there. And it creates what I've started calling the pillow. And so it's a low energy side. So the water hits it, slows down, and then it rises up and goes over. This gives fish the opportunity to navigate there. So they can easily go up on the flat and hunt, or they can stay there in the pillow and catch things as it's coming in. It gives the fish options on the front side of that real steep drop off. And there's a cool little spot right here in front of Point Campground right there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Where you can see the water flowing right here. This is the channel coming down this way. When it hits this, you can imagine that water's going to push up from 100 foot to about 80 foot right through here. So you're going to get this big rise, and on the front side here where this drop off is, this is really curious to me. So I want to check that out, as well as this gradual, like 80 to 90 foot gradual slope right here. Again, I'm thinking lake trout. This is a great spot for lake trout, a great area for lake trout. So I want to go check that out. And in full transparency, I've never fished this spot, so I don't know. I might be talking about someone's hot spot, the only spot they know on the whole lake that's holding lake trout in the summer. This is their spot, you know. In their mind, that's what it is. But the truth is, fish are just going to be where fish are going to be. So if you learn those trends, if you learn how the fish move through the ecosystem, you can look all over the map and find hot spots. So don't get too pigeonholed on one spot. Spend just a little bit of time dissecting this map, linked below, and find yourself brand new hot spots to go check out. You know, your favorite spot to fish on Lake Lewistown, you haven't found it yet. So use the maps, make this big lake small, and hone in your efforts whenever you get out there so that you're more successful. I want to see more pictures, guys. I want to see you guys catching. I want to see you guys kicking butt out there. So take a little time and dissect those maps, and hopefully that helps a little bit. I want to check these comments. So if you guys are tuning in late, what this is, it's a snow day. So this is a bonus live stream. I'm just going to shoot from the hip here. And I don't have an itinerary or anything. So if you guys have questions, let me have them. I'll just talk to you about them. And I'm going to do a little bit of map dissecting with you today on this live stream while we're all kind of snowed in. And I got a pot of coffee on. So hopefully you do too. You know, stay warm, maybe have some soup today, and we'll sit down. We'll spend a little bit of time. I really have no itinerary today. So church service is done. I don't have anything to look forward to as far as church service until late tonight. So I have a big block of time right now, and I wanted to spend it with you guys. So thank you for coming along and being here. I do appreciate it. With that being said, guys, you'll notice the title of this stream is real simple. Subscribe. My channel is so close to being monetized. You guys see how much I do on YouTube? When I talk to people about getting involved in YouTube, I tell them, hey, listen, if you're going to do that, just know that it's a long haul to get subscribers built up. So I'm going to ask you guys to check your sub for my channel. Make sure you're subscribed to it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to some of our Lewistown family YouTubers, and we're going to go and try to sub to them as well. So I'm going to encourage you guys to do subscriptions today during this live stream, and I'm going to bring one up after another and just kind of share them with you. Why don't we look one up right now? Mm-hmm. All right. This is the first one, of course, I'm going to show you. This is my buddy Mark. Mark has a channel. It is Only Fins. That's what you look up. To find his, here we go. We'll do, I'll take one of his videos. How about if I do this? And I will share it right in the comments. What if I do that? Alright, so what I did is I shared Mark's OnlyFins page right here in the comments for you. So you guys just click on that and you will go right to his website. You guys can sub up. Mark has been fishing Lewistown and the Lewistown area. He travels quite a bit, so he's got videos from all over. And of course we did paddling and bassing together, and he has a few videos on here with me. There's one with us doing some crappie fishing up at Howard. I'm sure I have another one in here somewhere. He's a kayak fisherman. This is our day out that we went with Angry Muskie. This one right here. So we got a couple collabs going on here. So if you guys take a little bit of time, check out his videos here. But I want you to go to his OnlyFins channel and sub him up. Let's show a little love to our Lewistown community YouTubers. That's our first guy. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it. All right. Awesome. So we got a couple people checking in. I want to say hello to you. Hey, Doug. Welcome to the live stream, man. Jay, thank you for the donation. The Lewistown Rendezvous has a registration link for you to follow. If you want to do a donate, just look at the bottom of the page. There is a donate button. You can donate. But Jay, thank you for the donation. I did see that. I really appreciate it. You've been a supporter for a long time now, and I'm looking forward to the years ahead. Say you're looking for a digital map like this, and you're looking for more spots. Yes, do it. Do it. That map is an incredible tool. I'm glad you found it. All right, Marcus. Hey, Randall. Love going through the map and learning more about the lake. That's why we're here, buddy. We're here to spread the love, spread the knowledge, and help our friends out. Even the extended friends. The Lewistown community is our new family. I'm glad you stopped in, Marcus. I appreciate you being here. The best place for crappie, Doug? That's a great question, man. I love that. I love you brought that up. Why don't we'll go back to the map, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And listen, there's crappie all over the lake. So you're going to meet folks who say that the best place for crappie is XYZ, and they are correct. But I'm going to give you some general rules to follow, if you will. And you can, of course, go out and explore and see if you can find your next hot spot. But what I'm going to tell you to do is look at the lake as a whole. So this is the lake as a whole. This is Weaver Falls. This is Snyder's Run. That's the dam. The dam right there, and Snyder's Run is right up here. Basically, what I'm going to say is you're going to see a graduated scale from upstream to downstream. You're going to see more crappie versus less crappie. And in my experience, you can also flip that. You're also going to see lots of crappie that are small. And as you go this way, you're going to see very few crappie, but the ones you find are going to be larger. So you're going to have to determine how you want to fish this lake. If you're happy to go out and just catch 5 crappie in a day, you might fish further down toward the dam as opposed to further upstream toward Weaver Falls. So what does that actually mean for you? Most of us are going to be happy fishing the middle of the lake for crappie, because you're going to kind of get a little bit of a mix. So you're asking me where's the best area to fish for crappie at? What I'm going to tell you is go to the middle of the lake. That would be James Creek. That's James Creek right here, or H. And you can put in as far down as like, you can go down anywhere around Shy Beaver, of course, but I would tell you the best area to put in, though, is probably James Creek. It's middle lake. And if you're going to target crappie, you just want to stick to the basics and work them very hard. If you were going out tomorrow, I would tell you after putting in at James Creek, this is cold weather, winter weather kind of patterns, They are going to be favoring your trees and bushes, which crappie do all year long. However, when it's winter seasons, you just kind of have to take their existing habits and you just amplify them. So it's going to be some version of what you're used to seeing crappie do. So what that means is this time of year, with the water temperatures being so very cold up against the surface, they're going to try and move away from that as far as they can and still be comfortable. So you got to find that deep spot where they can hold in timber and trees and such, but it's still not like too deep for them. So don't look in treetops that are down in 80 to 100 feet of water. That's not crappie you're seeing down there. What you're going to find is crappie get comfortable in the coldest winter weather in about 50 feet of water to, we'll say, as shallow as 40 feet and maybe as deep as 60 feet. And they're going to be found in that band. So if you can put into James Creek and find trees that the tops of the trees are kind of in that band of about 40 feet to 60 feet, you want to ride along those trees and just look to see where a clump of crappie are. And they're just going to look like a big bait ball. The difference between a bait ball and crappie, though, is for the most part, the crappie are going to be on trees, and the bait balls, they're going to be out kind of by themselves. So if you wanted to just put in at James Creek here, right here, and when you pull out, just start driving with your eyes underwater, whatever electronic you got, and look for trees that are in that band. And you can run the shorelines. You can, I know you can find trees right out here in the very center, like right in the main channel. But I do find that crappie don't like sitting straight on in the hardest part of the current. So it's better to stay off to the left or the right. Favor the shore whenever you're searching. So maybe like along here. Around here. Just out of the main flow of the lake. And then you can come up around Pee Wee Island here and continue on doing the same thing around those sides. This whole area down through this, the main bay area where we have this convergence for these three major bodies of water here. It has a lot of timber underneath right down through here. There's like a forest under here. So you can look around here as well. And keep in mind, we're not looking to be in a certain depth of water. What we're looking to be is in an area where the treetops are in that depth of water. Let's say 40 to 60 foot, and just look in there for big clumps of crappie just hanging on them treetops, and then park on them. Park on them, and then you've got to figure out what jig they want, what combination of bait and such, and that's up to you to decide. Really, it's up to the crappie to decide, but you have to be armed with crappie gear so that whenever you get down, you have some flexibility. That's my just off the cuff answer. Really good question, though. Crappie fishing is one of those things that I think is really underrated because it's so fun. It's so fun, guys. If you guys aren't crappie fishing, take your bass gear and just downsize it. Because I know a lot of you guys are we're all bass fishermen. We all fish for bass. We're all bass fishermen. Some of us are just better at it than others. But crappie is just bass fishing with your lures and everything just scaled down to, a quarter of the size. So if you can go for crappie with your bass gear, just use your smallest stuff and go start learning how to fish for crappie. It's a lot of fun, guys. I think you'll really enjoy it. This is mostly going to be vertically jigging. You're going to park above them and jig down because they're deep. Now, when they get shallower in the spring and in the summer, you'll be able to change up tactics. But again, it's just bass fishing with smaller gear. So put on your 4 to 6 pound test, run smaller lures, and go crappie fishing, man. It's a good time. Good question. I was out ice fishing yesterday with my pal Bradley, and he and I did catch a few. We were doing pretty good, I guess, up at Howard, but it was crazy because the bite didn't turn on until I don't know, like the last hour of daylight. So we basically sat out there for like I don't know, I want to say like 6 hours or something, and had very few fish in the hutch. We had the ice fishing hutch set up. We got holes drilled in the ice and such. And we sat out there for like 6 hours, and we only had like a handful of fish. But in that last hour of fishing, they all moved in to where we were at. We were popping them out of the ice, and then we had to leave. So unfortunately, we kind of just had to cut out. We couldn't stay during the best part of the bite, but that's all right. Speaking of my friend Bradley, this is his page right here. We are doing a subscribing live stream today, and what I'm doing is I'm sharing with you guys some of our local Raystown YouTubers from right around the area. So a lot of these guys are just my friends, and so I'm supporting their channel, and I want you to do that as well. So I want you to find Fish King's Cutlery right here on YouTube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one in here for you. Let me find one from Raystown here, and then we'll where's he got one? Here we go. This is a great video. I remember watching this one. So these are all my friends. I can encourage you guys to go check them out. So this is Fish King's Cutlery. So that is in the chat for you guys to check. I want you guys to go to each one of these links of our local YouTubing family from around Raystown here, and I want you guys to sub them up. What I'm hoping for at the end of the channel is everybody that's doing the YouTube channel here that's friends with me here at Raystown Lake, hopefully their channel gets a little bit of a bump. So let's see how far we can bump their subs up, and you guys can start watching these channels. These are good dudes. If they're in my circle, trust me, they're good dudes. I don't keep people in my circle if they're not. But the reason, I should explain. His channel is called Fish King's Cutlery, and you can probably tell from this first image right here that he is a knife maker. So I'm going to be doing some collabs with Bradley, and he and I just talked a lot about it. He's the guy that set up the ice fishing hutch for us here yesterday, and he's a great fisherman. He's a great friend. He's a wonderful knife maker, and he's local to our lake. So let's support his channel. Let's help him grow it. Watch a few of his videos. His information is there for you to contact if you want to do knives. But we're going to have a lot of fun this year. I think we might even get together and do a little ice fishing trip yet together before the ice leaves us. So that is Fish King's Cutlery right there, and that's a buddy of mine. You guys can check him out too. Nice, nice. I see Jay has actually ordered a knife from Bradley. So Fish King's Cutlery, check it out. I have a couple of his knives. I've given one away in the past during a fishing and chilling event. Yeah, good steel. He knows how to make blades. He actually says to me, he says, if you can draw it, I can make it. That's what he says. So if you want something made up, you want to do a custom design knife, or if you're just curious about talking to someone, he has knives already that you can just purchase, but if you want something custom made, he's your guy. He's your local knife maker here. He will be set up at the Raystown Rendezvous as well. So if you guys want to check out his handiwork, his artistry, his craftsmanship, come to the Raystown Rendezvous. It's linked down below, and you guys can, check out his handiwork. Support a local. I hope you're there. All right, looks good. Is it Monday already? No, it's not. Oh, you're thinking about for the live stream. So, I know a couple of you just kind of came on. It's a snow day. This live stream does not affect Monday nights at 8 p.m. So tomorrow is Monday night, 8 p.m. We're going to have a live stream. Tonight I'm just hanging out just for fun. I made some coffee and half forgot about it, so I'm going to get a cup here in a second. I'm just going to hang out for a bit. I've got time, so you guys can ask questions and direct this. I have no itinerary. I have no notes to take. So we're going to probably end up looking at the map a little bit. But number one priority that I made this live stream for was for subscribe. So I'm going to show you a couple of the YouTubers local to Raystown Lake, guys who are out here catching fish and participating in our community and in some way. And a lot of these guys are just my friends. So that we're all involved in making this content about our local area here around Raystown Lake. So everybody that I talk about, I will put it right into the comments so that you guys can follow them, and I'll link them all down below the video at the end as well. All right, so that's why we're streaming today. I know it's Sunday. I didn't lose track of the calendar or anything. So we're still going to have a live stream tomorrow. This one's just for fun. Bonus live stream. A snow day live stream. All right, good afternoon, Micro. I don't know that we met. It's a pleasure to meet you. You bet, Doug. Happy to help out. All right, very good. So let's look at the map just a little bit more here about crappie. So that's James Creek. I already talked about just driving around looking for that depth is what you're going to try for. If I was going right now, I'd probably try to go. I'd try to go where it's a little bit more shallow. So the reason I would say more shallow is because what I'm looking for is an area that the trees don't have to be so tall. So a tree that's like 10 or 15 feet tall, but it's sitting at 50 foot of depth. So a tree that's relatively deep, but it's still in that range where a crappie would feel comfortable with the temperature. So I would probably say, if there wasn't ice on the lake, if I was going fishing right now and I could take the boat on plane and I could go look around, I would probably look around the Lewistown Resort. So this is Shy Beaver, and this is all frozen up. It's locked up in ice right now. You guys may already know that. I did do a dock update. You guys can check that out after the live stream if you want. And I basically looked around here right from the dock at Shy Beaver, right here looking out. And you couldn't see all the way, but all the way I could see was ice, and I'm sure by now it's ice. But yeah, if I could get on the water this time of year, if there wasn't ice, I would probably drive around the resort area, maybe a little bit up from it, and maybe a little bit down from it. You know, as far as, you know, I might even come all the way up here to, say, like Nancy's. Not to Nancy's yet, am I? Right here. Here's Nancy's. So I might even look all the way from Nancy's to just south of Shy Beaver. I think this area right here, whenever ice is out, so I think the first crappie fishing of the year would be really good through this area. So the docks to use for ice out crappie, I would say that it would be Shy Beaver, Chattin, and you could use James Creek and just run down. Those are probably the 3 docks to use. So just to give you guys a kind of a big picture view of what the spring crappie fishing territory might be, that would be kind of the area I would say. Greg, hey, it's good to see you, man. It is good to see you. I think you have a set of my lures, don't you? The lure sales have been doing really good, guys. I appreciate that support. I have a couple here on my desk that I have made up. I have a couple sets. They're bagged up and ready to go. And I don't know if I have my... I do have some gear here. I might actually talk to you guys about that. How about if I talk to you guys about those lures just for a minute? I know most of you are familiar with the fact that I make lures, but if you go to randallrydes.com, go to my fishing section here, you can scroll down and you will see that there is a fishing lure right here. It's called the Jigging Lure. The Jigging Lure. How bold is that? But anyways, I sell these. I make these with my own 2 hands. And if I thought something was better, that's what I'd be making. Point being is, I think these lures are really good, and the guys who are using them seem to agree. But there is some confusion that I'm going to share with you guys here with these lures. And honestly, I've done, I guess I've done an okay job, but there's some issues that keep coming up with these lures. And so maybe I have not been, I haven't done the greatest job explaining some of the subtleties, the difference between them, the reason it's a set. You know, there's a reason why you have all 3 lures. They all have kind of a use, a specialty. There's a reason to have 3. And so I want to talk about that just for a second with you so you guys better understand. But these are the lures right here that you're going to order whenever you send out for it. And I will start from left to right. This white lure, this is a glow powder paint lure. And the reason it's glow is because you're down so deep Color doesn't matter whenever you're over 50 feet deep because it's pitch black down there. And I know I have little arguments, not arguments. We have heated discussions. We have discussions once in a while with other charters and other fishermen about color at depth. It does not matter. I'm holding to that. I think the presentation is so much more important than color whenever you're getting down to those dark places. So unless it's UV or glow, I don't think it matters. So this lure is used for the deeper lake trout jigging that you're going to do at Raystown Lake. You're going to do a lot of that because it's a deep water fishery, and that's why you're going to see this white lure in most of the lake trout jigging videos. It's because most of the jigging we do at Raystown for Lakers is going to be deep, and so those fishermen are using this lure correctly. They're using it in the deep. Quick transition to the green one. This is the green lure. It is also a glow lure. However, it's a light or a soft glow. So the white is high glow. This is a low glow, but it's bright green. So this is the one you're going to use in shallows. So what's shallow? That's whenever you're like 50 feet or less. So the white one is for 50 feet or deeper. This one is for 50 feet or less. This one will still work in your ultra deep jigging places. So you can put the green one on and jig deep with confidence because it does glow. It's just that the white one is high glow. That's the only difference. And glowing is nothing that I made up. Lake trout fishermen have been fishing glowing lures for a long, long time. There's a reason for it. It works. So that's what this is. It's made with a powder paint. It's super durable. And if you guys want a set of these, you can just follow the link to randallrydes.com and you can pick up a set. But that's the green one. Now, the one that I think folks are often confused about is the black one. And this one's actually the simplest one. This one, of course, it's black. There's no glow to it. This is black as pitch. So you're not going to see this one at all. Why is that even important? If you notice on this black lure, it's got that side eye. This is the only lure that has that side eye. And the reason for that is so that you can attach a tube to it. And the way this works, you can use any 5-inch large tube like this. And you just slide it on like so. Punch that eye through there on the side. All right. Let me get it all pretty with the little tails here. I'm going to go and tucked in because I was looking at the camera. But the point of the black lure is this is a specific kind of presentation, and it's super simple to present it. But the reason it works in as part of the set is because we have different things at Lake Raystown than just Lakers, and of course we have a lot of system differences, if you will, because it is a deep water fishery. Fat fingers don't work great for what I'm doing here. All right, good enough. So that side eye is there, and that's special. So if you clip onto that or tie onto that, I actually recommend you tie direct to these lures with a nice strong knot. And what you do is you tie onto that, and what this is going to do is down in the water, it's going to make for a horizontal suspended presentation. Just like I was talking about the crappie fishing, the crappie are going to hold up in the tops of those trees in that depth. If you find that Lakers are holding in about 60 to 80 feet of water, you can go find treetops that are right in that 60 to 80 foot of water, and you put this black lure on, and you drop it down to just above those trees, and then you just jig it. It's just an up-down jig motion like that. It's the easiest one to use. And the reason I say this is so important and the easiest one to use is because those trees, the tree tops underwater, they're not moving. And those Lakers are just sitting there holding it. They put their pectoral fins right on a branch and they sit there. They're high enough in the column that they can still shoot up and grab something if they're active. And the point is they don't move on you. Whereas if you're jigging them on the flats or just out cruising, trolling and stuff, all those lake trout are moving. The treetop ones, they're not moving. This should be the lure, the first lure that you tie on, because you're going to be practicing boat control and such. So that's why the black one works so well. You're going to jig the tops of those trees. I hope to see a lot more people using this one. You just need to get a tube, and I don't include the tube in the set because there's a million different types of tubes to choose from. However, I do have a recommendation for a tube. It's the one you see there, and I'll show it to you. Let's just jump over to here. I'll show you which tube to use, and you guys can jump to it, and you guys can do what you want. But this is just the one I'm using. So this comes from Send It Outdoors. You guys can look up here for the website. Send It Outdoors makes this one. It is a 5-inch middleman tube. You get 3 of them in a pack. They're $8, and you get all these different colors you can choose from. I personally like this one here because it's a glow green. That's the one I like. Glow is very important whenever you're jigging lake trout. But you guys can look that up. You guys can reference this if you want. You can come back and hit pause and pull the website if you need to. Hey Mark, good evening. Welcome to the live chat. Live stream. Thank you for saying something in chat. I'm going to stream for a little bit. There's no time restraint on me today, so I'm kind of just jumping all over the place. Wherever we go, we go. So if you have any questions, if you want to look at the map, we're doing a lot of map stuff lately, and I think that's because people have just discovered how important or how helpful it is to be able to pull up a map and dissect this lake, because it is such a big lake. It's easy to kind of get lost on it. That is, lost in your mind, not knowing where to go or whatever. So if you can take a little bit of time to just dissect the lake before you're trying to fish it, it'll help you out a lot. So we're going to look at the map a lot. That's going to be an ongoing thing. I'm going to actually have a segment with my live streams because I can tell you guys really appreciate that. So thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I have the title of this live stream is Subscribe, and so I'm going over a couple YouTubers local to the Lewistown area, and I want to encourage you guys to go check out these YouTubers. And I'm going to bring up another one now for us so we can check them out. Let's do this is the Budget Sportsman. He's a buddy of mine. His name is Nathan. I am gonna. He worked with me here probably 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. He was struggling to get get successful on a regular basis with lake trout, and so he spent a lot of time talking with me, kind of working his way through catching a laker. And he'll tell you that his favorite place to be is Lewistown Lake. So he's just like us. It's just a special, special place. Let me just look it up here. I'm going to go on his channel. I'm going to look up Lewistown. Just see what videos come up. He's got a couple. Oh, that's a good video. We should do this one here. I'm going to share this one in the chat for you. But this is his channel, The Budget Sportsman. I want you to go and subscribe to his channel and click all for the notification. I'm going to put his link into the comments there so you guys can track him down. There you go. I have it in the chat now. So that's The Budget Sportsman. You guys can just click on that link right there. It'll take you to his page. And when you get there, you guys can just go through his videos one by one. He does have a kind of his channel does look, it's in the name, The Budget Sportsman. So he looks at a lot of products and he finds the least expensive way to go out with quality equipment and get into God's great creation, to get out into the woods. So his name's Nathan. He's a friend of mine. That's the Budget Sportsman. Take a little bit of time and look over his channel. I think you'll be very pleased that you did. So very good. So what I'm doing tonight is, or this afternoon rather, is I'm just kind of off the cuff. You guys have any questions? Just shoot them at me. But I'm going to grab some coffee because I'm having too much fun. And when I come right back, we're going to start talking about the map a little bit. So I have some ideas I'll throw at you. If you guys have an area at Raystown you want me to look at, that is a mile marker. It could be a dock, or it could be a fish species. Anything at all like that might come to mind, just bring it up in the comments there in the chat, and I'll spend a minute and just talk about it. But I'm going to grab a cup of coffee, and I'll be right back. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just turning around. But I'm just getting coffee. I already prepped it with a cup of, I use a little milk, so there's a little milk in there. We have about a foot of snow out there, I hear. Everything at Raystown Lake and the surrounding areas, I think we got absolutely loaded up on snow. So I'm going to put these fishing lures away. Guys, if you want to order these fishing lures, it's not hard to do. If you want to order them, that's them. You just go to the website. It's randallrydes.com. That's what they look like. And now you have kind of an idea of how to fish them. And I have a couple made up, but if I get more orders than what I have made, I'll just spend a little time in the shop and I'll make a few up for us. You just go to the website right there and you can order up a set of these lures. That's them right there. While you're there, scroll down to the Raystown Rendezvous on April 10th through the 12th and do the registration and join us for the Raystown registration. I do want to point out this is a free event. It is a voluntary registration, so you don't have to do this. Just come out. Hang out at the Raystown Rendezvous, and it's best to see you. Just get there and be a part of what we have going on. The itinerary's coming together pretty fast, actually. I have a lot of folks who are interested in being involved with it, and it's just out of the kindness of their heart, too. So they're just going to donate some of their time and their knowledge to talk to us and just kind of do their part at building up the community around Raystown Lake. Trophy, that's actually a good question. I do not. I don't charge them. That being said, whenever I have them out, like when I'm jigging, if I'm not getting a hit like in a minute or two, I bring them up and I check my lure to make sure I haven't picked up a leaf or got fouled out or anything like that. Make sure that it still looks good. I might even bounce it next to the boat and look at it. And then while it's up there, it's taking a charge. Just from the ambient light that's in the atmosphere or from the sun if the sun's out. I don't use a flashlight. If you use a flashlight, that thing's going to glow like it's nuclear. So you're welcome to do that. I just don't. I haven't seen a need to do it. The glow paint, it's this paint that I'm using is surprisingly effective at harnessing the light that's in the atmosphere. And even just a little bit of glow on it goes a long way whenever it's pitch black down underwater. So I don't personally charge it. I don't think you need to. Just pull it up and check it, make sure it's swimming right, send it back down. That's all the charge it needs. Good question, though. Hey, Mark, I don't know if I said hi to you, man. Good afternoon. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. For those of you who've ordered lures and done the registration already, I really appreciate that. I know I've probably said that, but it's amazing to see, like, since I started doing these videos and stuff and growing my channel and such, it's amazing to see how far the community has progressed. People were talking to each other. I'm getting text messages, and I just got a picture on my phone just now of some fish. You know, it's like people are reaching out and like, look what I did. You know, and once in a while, they're holding a lure up that I sent them, and they have a fish now because of it, and that hits you in a special way, guys. Lure makers they got a special place in my heart because I dabble in it. These guys, some of these guys are just masters in it, but I dabble in it. I dropped the thing. Hold on a second. So what do you guys think, man? What do you got for ideas? What would you like to talk about? What's on your mind? I have time, so whatever you want to talk about, I'm open to. There we go. All right. I am going to share another one here. Give me a second. Since they're talking about lures, I might as well talk about lures for just a minute. We have a lure maker that I just started talking to. I'm going to put them into the chat here. So a gentleman reached out to me a few weeks ago, and his name is, his name's Chad, but his company name is Cam Lures. Now, he doesn't do YouTube, but he has a Facebook page. You guys can check him out, and he does bass fishing lures. I think he specializes... So he does other lures, but his specialty is going to be crankbaits. And they're beautiful works of art. But you can go here to his Facebook page. It's just Cam Lures, and his name is Chad Miller. You guys can reach out to him if you want to see some of his work. You just go to his Facebook page, and you can scroll through some of his pictures. He's got different bodies that he uses, but he's got a Facebook page you guys can check out. This is Cam. I've only just recently started talking to him. But he was kind enough. He actually sent me a couple lures. So I'll show you what he sent me so you guys can see firsthand what he is sending out to people. So that's one of his lures there. And you guys can pause this if you want to go back and look at them and stuff, and you can even tell him that you want the one that you saw in Randall's video. And I've got a couple here, so I'll just show them to you while I'm talking to you. It's important that we support the local company, the local guys, because that's us. If we want to be supported, we got to support others. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. Here's a square bill. Look at that chubby body. Oh, it's neat. He's got the little fisherman on the side. This is more of an artist piece, if you will. I'm calling it an artist piece, but it's got the right colors. And I'm certain it's got the right action. I know how these lures swim. These are great square bills. Knock these off the rocks and stuff. It's kind of cool though. He's able to get that kind of detail. The little fisherman in there. It's pretty cool. He says that's an experimental paint pattern. I kind of get that. And I have one more I can show you. Cam Lures on Facebook, so you guys can research them afterwards, but I pinned them in the comments section so you guys can follow them up, reach out to them if you'd like to. It's like a crayfish design, and he does put his name right on it. I used to work residential construction for about 6 years, And something my friend and foreman used to tell me was that if you make a mistake, make sure you sign your name next to it. His point was, if you're not going to stand by it, don't put it out there. You know, if you put in some plumbing and you look back on it going, I didn't do a great job, go ahead and put your signature and your phone number there too, so that people can call you out on your shoddy work. Cam puts his name on his lures. If there's any issue, you know who to go to. So he stands by his artistry, stands by his product. You can reach out to him. Cam Lures. And you see the price he has listed right here, but he's got other things going on other than just those bass lures. I'm just sharing those ones with you because of what I had in my in what he sent me. So that's Cam Lures. That's Chad Miller. You guys can check him out. Yeah. You know, too nice to use. That is a problem, isn't it? Got to be careful about those lures we buy. We have to be willing to be able to get them scratched and scuffed up. You won't fish them the same way. I'm a musician, and I have a couple guitars and stuff, and you guys probably already know that, but one of the things that I learned about guitars is I don't like new, crispy, clean ones. I don't like brand new instruments. I don't like them. I think there's a couple reasons for that, but probably the number one primary reason I don't like new guitars is because I don't play it like I stole it, you know? I don't manhandle it. I don't push it. I don't demand that it makes the noises that I want it to make when it's brand new, because I'm still kind of babying it. I'm being soft on it, and that doesn't work. When you're fishing, man, you need to be cracking that lure. Smack those rocks. Just beat the tar out of it. The reason I use the paint that I use on my lures, the powder paint, is because it's much more durable than other paints. You know what I mean? The reason that needs to be that way is because you're banging it off of rocks and you're just bang, 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 bang. If you look at the lures that I use for the charter, they're all knocked up. So they got chunks taken out of the paint, and it's regular abuse of just smacking it off of a rock. There's no paint on the planet that's going to last if you're smacking a lure off of a rock. That includes these crankbaits. But you know how it is, man. You've got these lures in your tackle box that look mangled. They look like they were put through a wood chipper, and you still tie them on. Some of them don't even have paint left on them. Or they do. That's just like remnant paint. It looks like, call it patina. But those are the ones that work. So, even though they're pretty, you can fix that. You know how to make a lure lose its luster. Just go use it. Doug, I saw it. You said Spring Lakers. Spring Lakers. Are we talking ice out Lakers? Oh my gosh. Do you think Lewistown Lake is going to freeze up this year? Wouldn't that be something? I'm zoomed in here, right? This is 7 points right here. I have seen ice all the way up. It just keeps on going further and further, basically going up toward the dam. I have seen ice up to right here. I've never seen it go all the way to the dam, but I've seen it up to like right in this area. The Terrace Mountain Trail runs along the lake right here, and I was hiking it one year, and I took a mental note of it, but that's because it was super cold for a long time. I don't know if it was 5 or 6 years ago, whatever it was. It was iced up like right here, and then it didn't go any further. Of course, you know, Snyder's was all locked up in ice, but this area here around the dam, it remained open just because of the depth of it. But best springtime for Lakers, best, boy, I'm going to zoom out and tell you can fish all the way from Entrican Bridge, right here, I'm going to tell you, you can fish from Entrican Bridge down to the dam. Spring is going to have them all dispersed. They're going to be up in the column. They're going to be shallow. They're going to be deep. They're going to be everywhere. But what you're going to find is they're going to be a favorite depth, and that's probably going to be mostly about the pressure. The comfort zone is more about pressure. They don't really they don't do trout stuff so much because Lakers are char, so they move a little bit different, and they move a lot. So you're going to find them in the shallows. I'll tell you, I don't know about the best spot to catch Lakers, but I will tell you that what's cool about the spring, like whenever it's ice, when the ice just comes off the water, is you have more success just casting for them. So you can come down to the lake, go to any lake around, or any shoreline along 7 Points area, we'll say, and you can probably whip out some, a Mepps spinner, a rooster tail, or one of those blue fox. You could run a spoon as well, but I think you'd be better off doing like a rooster tail kind of lure, and you can whip those out there and bring it. And you don't really have to upsize it either. You can use a medium size. It doesn't have to be an oversized lure to be able to catch Lakers. They're happy to eat small as well. So if I was going to go down and try to cast from the banks, we're talking about shoreline lake trout fishing, I'd probably tell you anywhere around 7 Points. And, oh, you know what would be cool? You know what would be really cool? Is here, let me put the crosshairs on it. This area right here that I have the crosshairs on is the swimming area. So here's the parking lots. This is the swimming area at 7 Points. You can park, I don't know, you might have to park up here at the lot. I'm not sure if you can park in these lots. I think you can get in here, though. I don't think they gate that off. I could be wrong. But if you find a place to park, and you can, like here in this parking lot, and you can hike in down around this shoreline, there's actually a dock right over here. So you can get down there is what I'm saying. This is kind of wooded, so it's a little bit more difficult to get down to the shoreline. But this swimming area is wide open. And I would love, this is actually a good idea. Is this a bank angling opportunity? What do you guys think on that? What if we were to do, I'm just thinking now, thank you, Doug, for bringing this up, got me thinking about it. What if we did a bank angling for Lakers little meetup? I wouldn't call it a bank angling event, but maybe a couple of us, a couple qualified rod and reel people, ice out, casting from the bank right at the swimming area and around the 7 Points shoreline there for lake trout. Yeah. So in the chat, you guys see Jay talking about carp. He loves to fish for carp. I love to fish for carp, thanks to Jay. He turned me on to it. But, well, I mean, see, you turned me on to it, but you understand. You opened my eyes to how incredible carp fishing can actually be. I've done a little bit of it, but it was fishing with Jay that really opened my eyes to how really fun carp fishing is. But the bank there around the 7 Points swimming area is very accessible. There's a parking lot. And somebody help me out. Is that gated off, or is there complete access to the parking lots all winter long? So first thing in the spring, as soon as the ice is off the water, can you drive into the parking lots and can you hike down to the side? Can we cast? Because if we can do that, I'd be willing to do like a meetup. Do a bank angling meetup for lake trout. Ice out, casting for Lakers from the 7 Points shoreline. If there's some people interested in that, let's talk. That's a good one. But let me know about those gates. Let me think about that one. That'd be fun. Let's look at this shoreline again. So this is the swimming area right here. We're mostly pretty familiar with the swimming area. Here's where the regatta used to run. Bring back the regatta. I'm going to start a petition. But yeah, if you can get in here, this is all parking area up in here. And if we can get in there, if the gates don't close us off and such, they got the boats and stuff over here moored at 7 Points Marina, so you can't go, all the way in here. I think, this is the point here, I believe, where you got your first docks, the big houseboats. But you can actually hike right along this edge, all the way around, through the swimming area, over to the boat ramp that's over here. And I know that you can actually access this whole shoreline. You can actually come down this road up here. There's a parking lot here, and there's a public fishing area. The water's super low, though. Wow. Spring, ice out, the water's low enough, you could probably hike this entire shoreline all the way around the 7 Points area. We could fish this very effectively. Ice out, spring conditions. We could fish this whole point, and there's lots of parking all through here. It sounds like a pretty interesting idea. If you guys are behind this idea of going and casting for lake trout from the shoreline, right around the 7 Points swimming area there, down at the beach, I want you to reach out. Maybe I'll put together a... I don't want to do like a bank angling event. I never do that the first year that we try something, but I'd be happy to do a meet up where we could just get together. We could throw some rooster tails or some spoons. Bucktails would work. You could certainly do it with, I know a gentleman, does he? Yeah. All right, good. A gentleman I can talk to you guys about. He does he has a YouTube channel, but he's real big on using flukes. So not a paddle tail, but a soft-bodied swim bait. I'm intrigued by this idea, though. I'll bring you guys up soon. Oh my gosh, I'll remember his channel in just a minute. I feel like we could get in and fish that pretty effectively. The point campground over here is gated off. I know they have a gate up here before you can come in and stuff, but these roads, I think these are all open, though. I don't think there's gates over here, so we could use any of these parking areas. These ones here, this would be a really steep walk down, so I would not encourage that. I would tell you, we would meet at the beach, which is right here, and I would probably fish right there at the beach the whole time. But I think that with the water drawn down, you could hike this whole edge, at least over to here. You see how it gets real sharp right here? It might actually be a good location to go fish, right there, where the lake is drawn down, and you get that steep drop off. This might be a really good area to like cast out to, along this edge here, depending on how close you can get. It gets a little bit deeper. I would probably fish either over at the beach here, or across the way on this point. I like this point because you got those tight, the topography gets tight there. But I'm telling you, ice out Lakers, man, they run a little different. They get up shallow. So Doug, I don't know if it's the best area to fish for Lakers in the spring, but I'd love to give it a try, buddy. Sounds pretty good to me. Marcus is up for it. Says, sign me up. Never done it. Me either. I've had ideas about casting the bank for lake trout for years, and it's something I've never succeeded with. And I know a lot of guys, there are incredible fishermen at our lake. They don't have a YouTube. They're not talking to you guys on a live stream. These guys are amazing fishermen, and they have these incredible stories about going. They know exactly how to pinpoint these fish. Lake trout from the shore is one of their specialties. These guys know how to put lake trout in. So I know these guys are making it happen. I'm not putting their business out there. However, I'd be happy to do a meetup with you guys and try this one out. Doesn't mean we'll succeed. Doesn't mean we'll have a banger of a lake trout day. I can't tell you it's that. So I'm not making a bank angling event out of it. But we could have a day where we just meet up as friends and just go fishing. It sounds pretty good. Putting that one, I'm going to take a note down so I don't forget it. I'm putting that one in the bank, though. I might even mention something about it in tonight's live, or tomorrow night's live stream, too. Lake trout, we'll call it the Ice Out Meetup. Yeah, I think Marcus is right. That sounds pretty fun. Doug, if it's a big success, we're going to have to call you back and tell you, you were the inspiration for the whole thing. And Crazy Nut, I did not miss your comment. I'm just on this lake trout kick, so I'm just sticking to it. I knew I could count on Marcus, though. And Trophy, you're up for it, too? Tell your friends. Bring the kids. It'll be ice out, and it'll probably still be really chilly. You're probably going to still wear a snowsuit or a heavy jacket and thermal underwear, But it's still going to be cold. It'll be ice out and stuff. But we'll do I love the sound of this. I think it's just going to happen. I think now we have to do it. That's what I feel like. Is it true that the worst day of fishing is better than the best day at work? Guys, come on. I don't know if that's true. I can't get behind it. What do you guys think? I can't get behind it. The best day at work? Guys, I was on fire. I was having an awesome day that day. I mean, that's a good day. Compare that to a bad day of fishing. Heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, difficult day. Cold rain spitting in your face. Fingers numb. Eyelets of the fishing rod getting frozen shut. Can't cast. No catches. Or worse yet, you catch the biggest one and it gets off at the boat. I actually didn't describe a bad day on the water, did I? I was thinking about that. If I went out and I actually had that kind of day in the water, I'd still come home smiling. Maybe I'm biased because I enjoy work. I've had a string of jobs where I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I've had some days where I was on fire. Awesome days. That being said, right now, currently, a bad day on the water. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I've matured enough to say that I'd rather have the bad day on the water. That might be a maturity thing. That might be it. Back in the day, I would tell you I'll have a good day at work over the fishing day that's poor. But I don't know. I think now, maybe I'm more mature now. I might take the bad day on the water. All right, Doug. The swimming area there is not too much of a walk, but, limited mobility is a real concern. When I do these, the bank angling events, that's something I really think about. So it is something to consider, of course. If you can make it, great. And if not, you got to, know your own limitations. Well, it'd be a shame, though. You'd be the inspiration for the whole fishing trip, but then you wouldn't be able to make it. We'll still give you a shout out from the shoreline now. We'll name all the fish after you. It'll be Doug 1, Doug 2, Doug 3, Doug 4. We'll just name them all after you. So you guys will see that the name of the name for the stream tonight is subscribe. And there's a reason for that. I'm going over a couple of our local YouTube, local to the Raystown community YouTubers. A lot of these guys are friends of mine, so I want you guys to go check out their channels and such. I'm sharing a few with you, and I'm going to share one with you here in just a minute. But I want you guys to go spend a little bit of time looking at these channels and checking out our local to Raystown YouTuber friends. What can I put up here for you? He's got some good videos here. I'm finding a good one. Here we go. So we got a buddy, his name's Tyler. He actually fishes in some of the bass fishing tournaments up around Raystown Lake. And this is his channel here. It's Flagship Fishing. You'll know it because of that banner right there. He sells t-shirts you can get with this cool looking bass on it. But he's got a couple videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tag one in the chat so you guys can follow that and sub his channel up. But essentially, you can scroll down through and look at them. And here's one from Raystown Lake here. Is it going to play or what? I don't want to play video in the player, but so this is one of his catches here at Raystown Lake. He's got a couple from Raystown. Of course, he's got some. He fishes all over in different tournaments, so you guys can check that out. But he's got some from Lake Erie. I know he went up there jigging lake trout as well, right here. Oh, it's just a picture. He's got, so he, like me, is a musician. We've actually played together at his studio a little bit, and so he's a good guy to go check out and support. The guys that I'm recommending you guys follow up, a lot of them are just friends, but they're active members in the community. I have a personal relationship with them, so they're good dudes. So the point is, you can go and you can trust these channels. If I might speak so boldly, I am going to invite all these guys to the Raystown Rendezvous. The idea is you'll be able to not just watch them on YouTube, but you'll be able to meet them in person. So a lot of these guys I'm sharing with you, they're going to be at the Raystown Rendezvous. So I'm going to make sure I invite them all. But today's live stream is just for fun, and we're going to try and get them subbed up. I'd like to see a bump in their subscriptions here after the live stream, so that they know that they were mentioned. Hey, Phil. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Phil just popped in there. You're not late, buddy. You're right on time. So tonight's stream is all about doing subscriptions, so I'm going to send you guys right now. Phil is in the chat right now. He just said hi. It's better late than never. He just showed up for the chat. I want you guys, everybody that's watching this, I want you to go to his channel right now and check it out. I put the link in the chat right there. You guys can look him up. And when you get to his channel, you're going to see that he is a Raystown Lake fishing guy. So he fishes not just on Raystown Lake, he also fishes around the area. I know he just posted a video here just a few days ago, I believe, didn't you, Phil? and it was doing some creek fishing. Yeah, a week ago, he was doing some creek fishing. So he does a little bit of everything, and I managed to go out and do a little fishing with Phil and Andy just the other day, and we had a pretty good trip. Boy, it was wet that day. It was just rainy and cold and stuff. But everybody go to Raystown River Adventures. Give him a couple subs up. Let's build his channel up. The point of these live stream, of today's live stream, is just to build up the community a little bit as far as the YouTuber community. He says, yeah, he hits the new, the river branches. No, the river branches creeks. All right, cool. I haven't done creek fishing in a while. Maybe that's a challenge. Maybe I should go out and do some creek fishing. But welcome to the chat, Phil. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just doing a live stream for fun tonight. I want to get back onto the maps. So give me some question about Raystown Lake. It doesn't matter how obscure it is. Whatever you want to hear about. I'm going to open up the mapping program. We're going to look at the lake and maybe come up with some ideas. And it might, who knows, it might butt into something that's kind of a big deal moving forward. You know, Doug mentioned going for spring lake trout a few minutes ago, and it got us in a whole thing about, you know, maybe bank angling for lake trout from the beach area there at 7 Points. So that's not a bad idea. That was a good topic to bring up. So what do you guys have? What's in mind? What are you guys thinking of? And while you're doing that, I'm going to bring up the website here. When you guys go to my website, most of you guys know it already. It's just randallrydes.com, but it's linked down below. You guys can check it out. If you guys want to do a charter, it's right there. You guys can click on the picture. This is my brother and his 3 boys. My brother works like crazy, so it's really tough to get on the water with him. We managed to get this one day in on the water, and he only had a little bit of time, but we still managed to get each one of those boys to reel in a nice big lake trout. And we caught those all right in front of 7 Points, so it's real close to the marina. So we just put in the water, did some quick fishing, and got out of the water and managed to have a great day on the water. But if you guys want to do a charter, it's right there. Appreciate that. We're booking up for the spring lake trout bite, followed by the spring striper bite. It's actually, that's kind of how the season starts at Raystown. The lake trout gets really good before the striped bass season kind of kicks off. So through April 1st starts the booking season. So by all means, shoot me a message and we'll get you out on the water, catching some of them Lakers. I'm going to Lake Erie this year in the month of July. You guys can book for that if you want. And I should mention, I've been recommending to you guys, there's actually an Amazon affiliate link right in here. I'm recommending that you guys purchase the Okuma cold water reel, whether it's the early model or the late model. Both are pictured in this little picture here. If you have any mechanical issues with these, because I don't care what kind of reel you get, it's going to break down sooner or later. I break these things apart and rebuild them all the time. So I actually have a warranty program directly with Okuma set up, so I can handle parts. And anyways, I do this regularly. If you want me to repair that reel back to near new condition, because I'm not going to paint them for you, they're going to have little scuffs on them if you're using them at all. But if you want them repaired up, just let me know, and I'll bring them back into serviceable condition for you, and you get lots of years of use out of them. I already talked about the jigging lure, and then I'll stop with this last thing on the website. April 10th through the 12th. This is the second weekend in April, and this is your registration for it. It's the Raystown Rendezvous. We're still putting together the itinerary for this, but already it's looking like it's going to be a groundbreaking event. It might end up being the biggest event that I hold each year. So be a part of the first annual Raystown Rendezvous. You can camp, you can RV there, or you can just stop by for the day. But the registration's right there. If you guys want to check it out, there's more details. Just look them up. It's just about a 3-minute drive from the blinking light in Entrecon. So the blinking light in Entreggen, you just keep going north on Raystown Road. It's on the right-hand side at the Valley Lions Club. So that's where it's going to be set up. There's the address right in the description. So you guys can check that out if you want to. Do the registrations for me. And the reason that registration is so important is because there's real expenses to setting this up. And I'm going to keep this as free as long as I can to just encourage people to come out. But the volunteer registration helps offset that. If you want to do a donation, just go down to the bottom of my webpage, click on the donation link, and you can send as much, as little, or of course nothing at all. But do make sure you make the Raystown Rendezvous. It's a no-cost event unless you do the registration or want to send a donation, which I'm happy to have the help with. So I appreciate that. All right. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate you signing up for the Raystown Rendezvous. Appreciate it. It's going to be nothing like it. I've never seen anything like it on the lake since I've been a part of the community. We're going to bring in some speakers, people who are highly qualified, local legends, we might say. I'm going to talk to a charter or two. We're going to have kind of a little round table and, just hang out and talk fishing. I have some subjects already. I'm kind of building the itinerary as we get closer and closer to it. And I will, of course, tell you more about that as it comes together. But we're still in the planning stages of it. But thank you. Appreciate your faith. You know it's going to be good moving forward, so go ahead and do the registration if you haven't already. Awesome. Let's look at this map. What do you guys have? What do you guys think? Where do you guys want to look? What mile marker is most interesting right now? What is jumping out to you in your mind? Tomorrow night, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about striped bass fishing. So it's kind of a little teaser or an intro to what we're going to go over tomorrow. And I'm going to talk a little bit about using the contours and using this map whenever you go out, just so you can pattern fish a little bit. So if you go out on the water, let's say you get a weekend, and let's say you get off work and you drive straight to the lake, and what you do is you put your boat on the water, because you always do that, who doesn't? And while you're going to camp, or after you set up camp, or you just have a little time to get on the water for the weekend, you just run around on the water and you look around a little bit. You might not even fish, but you look around a little and you pattern some fish. And then so you go home Friday night, and you know that Saturday morning when you put on, you already know where the fish are holding at. So the idea is to be able to pattern the fish before you go fishing. This is very important. Any fisherman will tell you it's better to go on water when you know what the fish are doing, as opposed to going on water where you're completely blank. You have nothing to go off of, nowhere to start. Makes for a difficult start to your fishing trip, and oftentimes you're behind. Whenever you figure a pattern out the morning of your fishing trip, the pattern's usually changing. So this will give you an opportunity. Tomorrow night I'm going to go over that a little bit. I'm going to look at contours and look at patterning fish quickly. And I'm going to specifically talk about striped bass as well. So there's a couple things to look forward to for the spring bite that's ahead of us. We still have a few weeks, man. We still have a little bit of time that we can kind of put some knowledge in our head. And these little chats might help with that. So tune in for it. Today's just bonus. So what do you think? Where do you guys want to look around at? What's some area you'd like to check out? This is a gentleman who I've talked to a little bit. He does a lot of hunting, but he's just an outdoors enthusiast, if you will. So this is Vaughn. And it's crazy because as much as we talk about the main person on a video, I think there's a big fan, an unspoken hero that's on Vaughn's channel, and it's his father. It seems that we all really like Vaughn's father. He's got honest reactions whenever he's whenever he's catching fish or just interacting with on the boat and such. It's something that's very relatable. Sorry, Vaughn. Your dad's a hero, man. We love watching him fish with you. So this is his channel. It's Vaughn. I'm going to just put him up here. And hopefully I spelled his name right. I'm kind of going by memory there. But I put him into the stream, or I put him right there in the stream, so you guys can follow to his page right in the comments section there in the chat. But go check out his videos. He's got a couple from Lewistown, but he's got some hunting videos and stuff too, so you guys can check it all out. But Vaughn is a solid dude. He's been a regular content creator for quite a while now, and again, he's a local to the Lewistown area. So spend a little time on Vaughn's channel as well. If anybody knows Vaughn, you want to reach out to him, I'd like to actually talk to him about the Lewistown Rendezvous and see if he wants to be a part of our panel and do some talking. I'm going to get some coffee if you guys want to refresh your cup. It's just going to be a moment, but it's a good time to do so. Lakers are like eels, man. They flip and flop. Oh, man. Yeah, they're slippery critters. So I'm going to get into some map work. Do you guys have any area you want to check out? Ooh, a little hot. Mile marker, dock, any area, anything like that? If you do any fishing at all, you're going to lose fish, huh? The guys who say they're not losing fish are just, they'll just lie about everything. Phil, that's a great idea. That's actually a great idea. I'm going to do that. I brought this up because I have a boat. A lot of you guys don't know. This boat has been a project, and this project started about 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. And I'm going to show you what it looked like. Kind of the before pictures and some of the process that I went through. And I want to point out that my father was in good health, well enough health, that he helped me. As a matter of fact, this shed that you see right here, this is my father's shed. So I bought this boat off a gentleman, and I brought it to his shed. And I parked it in there over the winter and worked on it a little bit, just dismantling it. And ultimately, in the summer, I took the better half of the summer off, so I missed the spring bite and all that stuff. But I had to rebuild this boat. And so it was in the condition it was in, we'll say that. This engine, the main engine you see on it, that 60, it blew up, so it failed, and I rebuilt it, and it promptly blew up again. It was just the oiling system. It wasn't getting oil in the top cylinder, and that top cylinder failed. And I didn't know enough about engines to do it correctly or to bypass it. I could have just ran two-stroke oil. I could have just ran oil into fuel, and that's what I should have done. But I failed to do that, and I blew the engine up 2 times. Because once isn't enough. So Phil built a John boat. He's actually, I think, a big fan of vintage boating stuff. If his engine, that old Evinrude that he has on his 12-foot John boat, isn't testimony to that, I don't know what is. I believe he likes vintage stuff. Yeah, he must be handy with a wrench because he keeps them running. But this is my boat kind of beforehand. I'm going to kind of flash forward through a couple of these photos, and you're going to see me tearing it apart. These are just... actually, the reason I was taking these pictures is because I wanted them for reference. That is, whenever I put the boat back together, I wanted to be able to zoom in and see where screw holes were. So you can see that I've started peeling up the floor on it. Started yanking wires out of it. I gutted this boat. This is the project that a lot of people think they want to do. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to have to do it more than, I don't want to have to do it again. So when I rebuilt this boat, I built it in a way that I can replace parts easily. Put new flooring, the framing and everything's in it, so I can run pipes and wires and stuff without having to dismantle it like this ever again. There's my dad's old Honda back there. Look at that. Yeah, I love it. Right back there. This bike is what made... I'm getting off course now, but that Honda back there is the first bike that I ever rode that really planted the seed of loving motorcycle riding. And I don't know if you know this about me. I love riding motorcycle. I'm going to disappear in the spring for about a month, and I'll be on the highway just traveling. I do that, 2 or 3 times a year, so it's a big deal to me. We'll stay on the boat here. So now I got the floor out. I'm starting to take apart the sides. If I'm taking pictures of the engine, I'm probably thinking about pulling that engine. There went the front deck. The live well came out of there. There's a lot of dead space up front, and I wanted to harness that. Use it. I have some rod holders up underneath the deck right now. So now the boards are up, and I'm pulling the foam out. I took this boat all the way down to the shell. Taking pictures of the wiring. It's not very interesting, but I'm going to get back to the shell of the boat here. So when I put it back together, I used this 1" by 1" aluminum stock, and I spaced them apart, I think every 10 inches, I think is what I did. So the framing underneath my floor is 10 inches apart. The whole length of the boat has framing across it, just like you might think with like floor joists in the home. But you can see I took it all the way down to the hall, and my father helped me. We re-riveted every single rivet that was questionable. So we filled this thing up with water, and I looked to see which rivets were dripping. They got drilled out, and I replaced them with quality rivets. My father helped me swedge all those rivets. It was quite a job. But we had this thing rolled upside down and then back over quite a few times, just up and down, just making sure we got every single rivet. This is the only aluminum boat that I've ever ridden in that doesn't leak. And it's because we took so much time on it. And then you can see me cutting the floorboard. They're not boards. That's PVC board you see that I'm using for the floor. And I took the paint down, and of course I'm going to repaint things, but really just getting it sealed. In this picture right here, this part where the boat was upside down, and I'm putting this epoxy paint on. If there was the smallest bit of a gap in any of those rivets, this epoxy got in there, sealed it, and hardens, and it's super durable stuff. And the bottom of this boat ends up looking just cherry, guys. It looks really good. You can see the paint's still damp there. It's still not dried. It hadn't set up yet. But that was a thing of beauty. You have no idea the work it takes to get to this point. I hope I never have to do this again. So that was the epoxy paint. This is the black finish that I put on the outside of the hull. It's a below the water marine paint, and I just painted the outside black. And I'm taking some measurements for these holes, and I used deck paint on the inside. This paint has little granules on it, so it's got a little bit of texture. And I did white on the interior to keep the floor cool, and it's textured so that you can have grip. And that's just a picture of a boat that I was kind of basing my design off of. So it's kind of a walk back memory lane of rebuilding that boat. But boy, it was that was a job. It does become a lot of work. Trophy, yeah, that engine is notorious for having a failing oiling system. And it's crazy because I checked the oiler on it and it was pushing oil out. The problem is whenever you get into high RPM range, it's supposed to kick more oil. And then when you get into lower RPM ranges, it's supposed to kick less. That's the automatic oiler of it. Notoriously, that oiler doesn't kick out more oil when you're in the high-end range. So I'm not telling you to replace it, because if it's working, it works great. It's a great engineering design. The problem is whenever it fails, you don't know. It's difficult to measure how much oil's coming out and such. So if you have that engine and you don't mind just running two-stroke, so just mix the oil into the fuel, absolutely. I'd say just change over and run two-stroke oil in it. You don't have to you don't have to fill the tank in your oiler, or if you're worried about under oiling the engine, you can keep some oil in your tank but still run some oil in your fuel. Do some kind of balance. You can do a low oil mixture in your tank, but keep your oil full, your reservoir full on the engine. But I think the best thing to do, just the safest thing to do, would just be run oil in your gas. You have it mixed then. It's not a question. And yeah, those old two-strokes, man, they used to kick. They were powerful. Two-stroke engines are underrated nowadays. I think what we're going to see is this kind of swing back and forth. It's kind of like going from spinning reels to casting reels. I think you're going to see one get popular for a while, and then you're going to see it fade off. So I think right now we're in this four-stroke era. I think people are going to wise up and realize that two-stroke, bang for the weight, man. You can lower the weight of the engine and still have the power. And weight is a big deal on boats. That being said, I sure do love my four-stroke. So there's that too. But yeah, in hindsight, Trophy, if I could go back, I would just mix oil into fuel. It's so simple to do, and it would have kept me from rebuilding it. I thought about doing it the first time I rebuilt it just for, to be cautious. but I ended up just trying to fix the oiler. I tested the oiler. It seemed like it was working. And unfortunately, that's the problem, is I thought it was working, but it wasn't. Well, it's been running great. You could pull the spark plugs out and put that scope down in there, and you can look in the cylinders. And, you should be able to see something. Like the top of the... If you take the spark plug out and you shine a light down in, and the top of the piston, because the piston comes right up to the spark plug hole, you can put the light right on it, and you can see if that piston, the top piston, the one that's up at the top, that's the one that failed me. I think the way the oiling system works, if I remember right, it feeds the top one, and then the oil kind of just goes down. So anyways, that top one, if it's got like a clean cylinder head, so if the coloration on that cylinder head or a piston head looks different than the other two, just shine the light in and look at them and stuff. Use your camera, your phone, whatever you got to do. If it looks like a different color, there's a chance that it's being oiled differently than the other cylinders. So that's a quick test you can do to look at it to see if it's a problem. A potential problem, I should say. And the other thing is just read your spark plugs. Your spark plugs will tell you everything. You do a little study on reading spark plugs, or maybe you're familiar. They'll tell you if it's running lean. They'll tell you if it's running rich. But in this case, what you want to see is all those spark plugs should look the same. So if you pulled all three of your spark plugs, keep track of which cylinder you pulled your spark plug from. Your top one is probably going to be the problem one. So just look at it, see if it's different. And if it is, start running oil in your fuel. It's just simple stuff. And you might not have any problem at all. But it's common enough to be aware of it. It's probably a good idea. Well, Phil said about... So Phil's recommending if you question if it's getting enough oil, then just pre-mix it. If it stops pulling, it's going to be bad. Yeah. It's unfortunate too, because the moment you realize you have an engine because if it's not oiling, it's going to be because you're going to hear the piston inside the engine slapping, and it's going to create a it's just going to sound awful. You're going to hear a rattle. The engine's just going to sound weird. One of my videos back in the day, you can look it up. It's on my Randall Rydes channel, as opposed to my Randall Rydes Fishing YouTube channel. But on my Randall Rydes videos, one of my old ones, I actually had video of that engine failing. But check it out, man. Hopefully that helps. But I think Phil's probably right. Let's look around James Creek, and we'll look as if you don't have you can't go far from James Creek. So if you put in at James Creek here and you don't have a big engine, if you've got a smaller John boat fishing, guys, I want to point this out. A lot of the times when I'm making my videos, I'm thinking about who am I making this video for. That's actually important. But when I'm thinking about who I'm making the video and I'm on my boat, a lot of the time all I'm thinking about is some guy with a John boat. A simple, maybe like a garage build kind of fishing system that he's got built up. The John boat always comes to mind because I think, if I'm right on this, I think like half of the fishing community at Lewistown Lake, the boating fishing community, half of them are fishing off of a John boat with one pal. So you're talking about two guys out on if not alone, but two pals out on a small John boat on a big water system, a big deep water reservoir. So that's important to me when I'm making videos. I'm kind of thinking of those guys. So I keep my tactics and my recommendations simplified. And I wouldn't say simplified so much as I always stick to the basics. Reason being is because if you have a vessel that's more nimble, more capable, more dynamic, you can run the lake and really do quick searching. You got expensive electronics, things like that. You can search things out more efficiently. You can cover more area, and you have more options, and you can always run back and forth if you have to figure out the best option for that day. Even John boat guys don't really have. There's a lot of limitations with the John boats. So many of them will put in a no wake zone, say like H. Let's look at H. So it's just, I'm using that as an example. Here's James Creek right here, where you pull out, still no wake zone. And if you turn left, this is all no wake back through here, but this is H right here. So this is where we're going to look. So if I had a John boat and I couldn't go far, this is what I would try to do. I would fish this area right here at H. This is not a bad option to go fishing. If you come back in here to H with your John boat, you're going to find it's very John boat friendly, because you're not going to have wake. You know, you're going to have the opportunity to fish an area that a lot of boaters just blow right past. And this is a great fishing zone. Great fishing area. This area back here will hold everything that you probably want to chase other than your deep water species. Probably won't hold too many lake trout. That being said, maybe in the spring here, you could fish it. So if I had a John boat and I was going fishing, I might use H or James Creek, and I would just fish these coves right in through here. Again, I think the basics, what I'd recommend to you is to use your mapping program here and find all, again, I was saying the basics, right? So stick to the basics and work the basics really hard. Most of you guys are kind of have you're kind of dialed in on bass fishing, at least to some degree. You guys can go out and succeed on bass. So I don't talk too much about it on this channel, but the John boat guys are probably fishing for bass more frequently. When they get on the water, they're probably targeting bass. So this is a good area to look at. You can't come back over into this area. It's still, I think it's still buoyed off. You're not supposed to fish back there. But this is good for not just John boats, but also kayaks. But stick to the basics. Whenever you get over to the edges here and you see these tight pinch points, what I'm calling it, these tight topographic lines, those are good spots to look. If you don't have underwater electronics, so underwater eyes, I would tell you to just dedicate yourself to fishing that spot for like 30 minutes. So, well, let's just start right here. See how the topo lines get a little tight? You get a little deep hole. This 28-foot deep section, that's good, because then the bass might have an option to go up and down in the column, so we can go down deeper if the water gets warm. And then, of course, come up and feed as he wants to. So I might look at an area here like this, where it's real steep next to a deep area. Steep next to deep. Try to remember that. And what I might do is, if I'm a John boat guy, I'm going to use a hard anchor. So I'm going to send my anchor down out here on the flat somewhere, and I'm going to let some line out until the boat moves over into the position that I think I can hit these tight topo lines the best. So I might park my boat right out here and then cast in on this point. And I'll just do some fan casting. And I might use jerk baits, I might use a jig, I might use a crankbait, whatever it is you think the bass are going to respond to. But I would approach these steep to deep areas on the John boat if I'm looking for bass, and then you'll be able to figure out some kind of pattern, figure something out. And then, of course, you can just move on. So you dedicate 30 minutes or so to that, and you'll maybe find something that's working, and if not, no big deal. It's just one spot that you have made this big lake small. So when you went out there, this is one of the spots you wanted to check out. Take your John boat and you go out here and you find another steep next to deep zone. So let's go out here along H, and this looks pretty good here. Right here at this pinch point as you're leaving H. So as you come out the main channel here, you see on the southern side, it's real steep through here. Real slow current coming out, so I don't think the current is crazy. But I might look on the upside of this steep drop-off. And again, do the same thing. Maybe I'll anchor over here on the point or even further out. Let some line out until your boat kind of drifts into it. Or if the wind's blowing real crazy, you might anchor over here in the deep. And if the wind is blowing you, you just let that line out, and you gotta work the wind a little bit and the current and stuff. You gotta figure out what that's doing so you can. Boat controls a whole thing. Boat controls a whole thing to figure out, but with an anchor you can do this pretty effectively, and you'll figure it out. After a few drops, probably after your second or third drop, you'll have this kind of ironed out. And you just let yourself drift in close enough to where you can park the boat there and then just fan cast across that point, and you can use jigs, crankbaits, or jerk baits. You can use your spinners if you want to, but I'm not a big fan of spinners for bass. And some of you guys are. Spinner baits are a classic bass lure. I'm just not a big fan of them. Chatter baits, you kind of have this little hybrid of a spinner bait to a jig, but a bladed jig is, it's been around for a long time, but when the chatterbait name came out, people thought it was a new tool, but it's not. They work good though, so I like them whenever they're. It's a good reaction bite. I move them crazy fast though. So I'm going to move on down the channel here. So I'm on my John boat and I'm working. And here's another steep to deep pinch point here. And that's 3 areas on my John boat. I have not left the no wake zone here at H. I've only made it this far, and that's 3 places. Most fishing trips, honestly, if you get out to the water and you end up with 5 to 10 stops, so like pre-planned in your head, if you have 5 to 10 of them, till you're done fishing those 5 to 10 spots, you'll probably have something kind of figured out. It'll be a color. It'll be a presentation that is how fast you're retrieving it, or how slow, or how long you pause. But the idea is you'll start to figure out some kind of pattern. Jay says that long point on the upstream side of Trough Creek. The long point on the upstream side of Trough Creek. The long point on the upstream. I think he's talking about this point here. Jay, is this the point right here? Is that the one you're talking about? If that's it, just let me know. Access by land. It looks like Old Forge Road goes almost the whole way, but I don't know what the terrain is like. So that point, if I'm looking at the right point, the one you're asking about, this one right here. So this is Old Forge Road, I think you're looking at. So I think this is the point right here. Is this the one you're talking about, Jay? I want to make sure before I go into a whole spiel about it. Yep, that's the one. Okay, good deal. So this point right here, I can tell you I actually have a video on it. With the lake draw down, yes, you can access this, but you're going to do it from the shoreline. This section of land right here, right through here, is a heck of a thing to walk through. But this road right here, if you go back to, let me zoom out a little. If you go back Trough Creek, back here around the ice mine, you can actually park your vehicle. I think it's actually going to be like right in here. There's some pavilions and stuff all through Trough Creek, but if you get down into here, you can actually park your vehicle, and you can cross the water onto this path. This road is, you can't drive this road. It's like an access road, so the Force or the Army Corps of Engineer can use it. But you can hike it. So you can walk this, and I have a video on it where I say it's Lewistown's hidden hiking trail. I'll see if I can find it for you to share it with you. But basically it brings you back to around this area, and then it just kind of stops. The trail just runs out, and you have to take to the shoreline. And you can walk the shoreline out around here, real close to the bank, and you can make it to this point. And in that video, I do make it to that point. So yes, you can get there. It's a little bit of a hike. Little bit of a hike. I mean, it's a lot. It's probably a lot to be carrying a tackle box and some gear. So absolutely you can get there. But if you go on my channel, I have this video right here. The secret trail. Secret trail at Trough Creek. That's it right there. And I'm going to link that in the comments section for you. Yeah, and you can look at that video and decide, but I think it's a lot. Yeah, it's a bit of a walk. When I did that, I didn't take any gear. It was just me and the kids. It was cold out, but we hiked it all the way down, and we actually hiked back on the other side and then hopped up over the ridge to come back in. So we did kind of a loop thing. And I can tell you, this ridge top was just brutal. It was just snags and trees and jaggers and, briar and all that stuff. But we walked the shoreline out, and it was solid. This point, yeah, it is interesting. It has some appeal to it for sure. I'll tell you right now that the drawdown is going to create a big rocky shoal area, so you could set up easily, and then I would say cast off to the backside of this, actually. With the flow coming out of Trough Creek, and it's a pretty hard flow coming, the main channel out here. This is all pretty, because it's just sheeting off. It's just going right off the edge of that. I think the low flow area is actually right there where you see that fan. It's just a fan deposit area of, that's your low flow area. I actually caught a striper out here, right off this point. As a caveat. So it's a good spot. Just, there's places like that all over the lake, guys. Just great fishing to be had. All right. Yeah, you're very welcome, of course. Thank you for asking about that. I want to get back to H just for a minute. Talking to the John boat guys. When you get out of the channel and you come out here to where it would cut off to go back to James Creek, this is the no wake buoy right in here. I'm sorry. So you come out of the channel from H, and then this is James Creek here. This is a no wake buoy line. So if you go beyond that, you're going to start getting into wake zone. So I'm not going to encourage you to go outside of no wake unless you're confident in your boats and your navigation abilities. But if you come out here, what I would suggest is that you stay closer to the shoreline and then just work your way back here. This is what we would call Party Cove. So Pee Wee Island right down here. You can come right back through this area and get into the Party Cove area. Broom balls back in the orchard. All the way back in there is really good fishing. Back through here. You know something cool I'll share with you guys? If you actually come back here, it's right here. This is it. This tiny cove right here is where I caught my first ever bass from my John boat. Back in my John boat days, this is where I caught my first ever bass. and I caught it on a Ned rig. Real deep back in here too, like way back in there. There were some logs, and I just cast it back in there, wiggled it a few times, and pulled a bass out of there. Nice big bass. And I remember I went just a few minutes later to the opposite side here, and I caught my second ever bass on a Ned rig right there. Yep. So this is all John boat territory. Good fishing to be had. If I was on a John boat going out in the spring, I would probably put in an H, and I wouldn't even leave it. I'd probably stay in H and just start fishing around there for crappie and doing some bass fishing and stuff. For crappie, I'd probably end up out here, though, because they're going to be holding a little bit deep still in the spring. But they'll be all through this area, though. They're going to start populating a lot quicker than you realize. The cool thing about Lake Raystown in the spring is the fishing bite. It turns on. It's almost like a flash. You guys who fish Raystown, you've experienced this. It's like there is no spring. So the spring bite at Raystown Lake, I think it happens quick. And it's there and it's gone. That being said, the bass, they tend to wait. Bass are kind of slow to come up. So it's my experience that everything on the lake believes it's spring before it's spring. And they get it anxious and active, except for bass. Bass fishing tends to linger. It's slow. It's always like 2 weeks behind the river system. So if you fish the Juniata and you think the spring bite's over, it's a good time to switch your bass fishing over to Raystown Lake. Spring bite. Of course, season might not be in then. Busted Knuckle, good evening. No, I'm not staying warm. It's brutal up here. We had single digits. I think we had -3 whenever I went out ice fishing yesterday. It's brutal. What state are you in? You don't have to say what state, but I forget. You can say Midwest, South, whatever. I know everybody's getting hit with some cold weather, but man, we own it. We own the cold weather up here. This time of year, we just kind of hunker down. We turn the heater on, and we just try not to move too much. We sit on live streams and talk about fishing. So that's John boat fishing, Phil. I think I've covered that pretty good. Had a little fun with that. That was a good recommendation. Appreciate it. Shout out to Phil. Make sure you guys are checking out all the channels that I'm linking in the chat, and I will link them down below. Whenever I finish this, I'll do all my updates on everybody I talked about as much as I can remember. Make sure you're checking them out. They're local YouTube people, so they're local to Raystown Lake. So go check them out and show them some support. And while I'm thinking about it, the Raystown Rendezvous is going to be our first chance to get together in April. It's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can come out and camp. You can bring your RV and set up there in the camping and in the parking lot. You have to boondock. And if you are doing that, just reach out. And just know that it's kid-friendly, family-friendly. We're going to have a round table of some experts talking. There's going to be some games and some giveaways and such. It's going to be a real cool little event, and I think it's turning into I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be bigger than anything else I've been doing, so big to me anyways. So hopefully you can make that out, get a chance to meet some of these YouTubers in person, shake their hands, and get to know them on a first name basis as opposed to our YouTube handles. But yeah, it's April 10th. I have the registration right there. It's linked down below. And if nothing else, you can always go to randallrydes.com for everything Randall Rydes. But that's the first one coming up. Do the registration. If nothing else, just make sure you show up. Phil, you're going to do a John boat series. Nice. You have an 18-foot. Oh, that's the one you sent me a picture of, isn't it? Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, it would be great, Phil, if you brought that John boat to the Raystown Rendezvous. Maybe what I'll do maybe I'll join you because I have a John boat. It's ready to go. I just got to throw the engine and fuel on it, and I can take it. But maybe what we'll do is we'll connect a little bit and do a fishing trip or 1 or 2 videos, and we'll make a thing out of it, and then bring our John boats to the Lewistown rendezvous. That'd be fun. I would love that. We can kind of team up, do a collab kind of thing for that. That'd be fun. Nice. Nice. So you got some plans for your John boat? Yeah, sure thing. Sounds great. I'm going to use the restroom. I'll be right back. I'll probably stream for another like 30 minutes and then call it quits. Today's just like a bonus stream. Doesn't really mean anything. We're just kind of hanging out and talking. But as you kind of come through here, make sure you guys are subbed to my channel. And then, of course, check out all the channels in the chat that I've been mentioning and go give them some love. These are local guys. I'm just going to use the restroom, grab a coffee. If you want to grab a coffee and come right back, I'm going to do, I have an idea for doing some mapping specifically for striper, because the spring bite for striper is coming. So I'm going to do some stripe bass zones, if you will. I want to get you guys thinking the right way about striped bass before it comes, so that way you guys can do a little bit of research. But I'm going to use the bathroom, get some coffee, and then we'll hit that up. I'll be right back. All right. I had to nuke my my coffee. It got cold on me. Appreciate you guys hanging out. And, you know, these live streams, guys, I want you guys to understand, it's a long live stream, and it's just for fun and such, but you guys who are sitting with me and spending real time just kind of hanging out, talking about fishing, and interacting in the chat. This is the earliest stage of what this channel is going to be. There's going to be a point where it comes where it's going to be, everything's kind of flooding in. And I won't be able to catch it as personally as this. If I don't talk to you in those days, I want you to know that I know that you were here from the beginning. These are the days whenever it was starting. So I'm glad you guys are here with me now. I appreciate it. I'm going to talk to you guys very boldly and with all transparency, because you guys deserve that. You guys have been so supportive of me. I'm going to give you every bit. So if you have any questions, I'm trying to be so very transparent with you guys because I know that you're the core, you're the beginning, you are where everything's going to grow from. So ask away. You guys are more important to me than the 50,000 subs of people who are just there to, kind of graze and get whatever they can out of my channel and then leave. You guys are solid. I know you guys would share. You guys do share information with me, so ask away. I'm here for you. A few days ago, I saw spoon pluggers, of all things. I've been a real fan of the spoon pluggers things on Facebook, and they talk a lot about the original in Fisherman magazines, but a lot of diagrams that come up on the spoon pluggers thing on Facebook. You guys can check that out if you want. Maybe I'll just jump over there and show it to you. But they have a lot of diagrams and stuff that pop up, and I've been really, really enjoying them. And they had one that popped up the other day, and I took a picture. I stole the picture, basically. Spoon pluggers. And I kind of stole it. I don't know. I'm having trouble finding it. I don't care. It's not even critical. But anyways, this is one of those things. I just want to give them credit for it. I'll try to find it here while we're talking. But so Phil is going to be on a John boat, and maybe he doesn't know exactly what to do to find some striped bass. So we're going to cover a little bit of like striped bass basics. And the picture that you see me using here is actually it's unrelated to Lewistown. So I'm going to look at this first and then come back to it. Come back to Lewistown, What this is just a drawing. It's just a rough drawing, if you will, of striped bass structure, things that would hold striped bass when you're out there. So you'll notice right away that you see the pinch points are highlighted. Here you see how it's a flat up here and then it pinches off tight. If all you did was go out and you ran these parallel, you ran the contours, you would find that you would automatically hit striped bass locations just by accident. With this diagram, all you would have to do is stay in that 20-foot range and pull some boards with some striper appropriate lures, and you would accidentally hit almost all of these spots, because look where they're at. They're right along that contour. This is really common, so don't overthink this, but at the same time you want to go out with your mapping program. Pick a few spots that look like these spots at Lewistown Lake so you can run them. With two things I want to point out with this map, just to get you thinking about it. One is the depth. Notice the depth that all these contours are shadowed in at. The areas where they're colored in at are all similar in depth with exception of these two right here. So this is 5 foot, this is 10 foot. These are super shallow spots. Most of the time when we run for striped bass, what we'll do is we'll run planer boards out, and we'll have some baits that are down under the boat, basically downlined but still trolling, and those are going to be the ones that we hold at this deeper depth of about 15 to 20, maybe 25 feet. I typically don't go any deeper than 20 foot when I'm running for striper. But I always have boards off to the side of the boat that are essentially unweighted, and they're essentially running right at the surface, so as shallow as possible. That means my baits are probably less than or right around a foot deep, and that's just because the fish naturally sinks in water. He stays down a little bit. but I'd say about a foot deep. I might have a bead or 2 or 3 beads up ahead of them, but really weightless. I like running weightless rigs at Raystown Lake because we all know there's trees. A lot of snags to be had. You don't even have to look for them. They just show up. So what would happen is my boat would end up dragging my down lines in the correct depth close to the boat when I'm running these contours. And then my planer board will be out here on the side, super shallow, running these striper that are up toward the banks, usually toward the banks. This is an exception. This is toward the bank a little. It's not in the main channel, but what I'm saying is it's away from the bank. But your boards that are up shallow, guys, always run shallow for striper. So that's the one thing I want to point out is the depth. So take note of what depth you're going to want to run bait. The interesting thing at Raystown is it is a deep water fishery, but not all fish are deep water fish. Yes, striper will go deep, but the standard for striper is not to go deep. So at this time of year, they're going to be deeper, but in the spring and such, they're going to come up more shallow. You're going to find them more shallow than deep. There's always exceptions, but we don't play to the exception to the rule. We play to the rule. Good coffee. So, the second thing I want you to take note here on this is these words right here in the middle, water flow. Water flow is very important. People underestimate how important current is. Current is a major contributing factor to whether you're going to catch fish or not. And a lot of people go out and they're fishing without any concern to water current. And that as a charter, I spend a lot of time out on the water, and I see a lot of people fishing a lot of different ways, and it's unfortunate because I'll point out that if you have 10 fishermen out there fishing, I can tell you I can look at what they're doing from a distance on their boat, and I can see that only half of them are fishing effectively. 50% of people out there, they think they're fishing, but because it's so ineffective what they're doing, I'm going to tell you, they're not even fishing. And that's why you see so many people report 50% of the community failing at Raystown Lake. And of course, when you fail, you're very vocal about it. When you're not failing, when you're actually succeeding, we tend to get kind of quiet about that. We don't want people to take our fish. So, current. Current matters. A fish, almost 100% of the time, fish swim into the current whenever they're active. When they're looking to take baits and lures and stuff, they're going to be swimming into the current. If you come straight on to them, if you're coming this way, your bait, and you're dealing with dark, murky water at Raystown Lake, most of the time you can't see more than 10 feet or something like that. So the fish aren't going to see it. Now they have lateral lines, they can read lures, but that stuff's going to come in so fast and then be gone. Because they're going this way, you're going that way, and you're going to just run past each other. What you're expecting that fish to do, say that lure comes by and it's like 20 feet away from it, what you're expecting that fish to do is go chase it. So if your boat is coming through 20 feet away and he's over here, you're expecting him to do two things. One, divert and come over 20 feet, and until he gets over there, you're going to be past him, and he's going to have to turn around and chase your lure. Fish like to operate under as little effort as possible. They the path of least resistance, right? They like to just hang out and be relaxed and calm, and then a spurt of energy, and they get to eat, and then they just relax and they get calm. Think of fish as being lazy feeders, not necessarily lazy feeders, but more like lazy hunters. So when it's time for them to eat, they get very active, but whenever it's time for them just to hunt, they like to do so with as little effort as possible. So if you're going against their trajectory, so if you're going the opposite direction, you're expecting them to do two things. One, displace and go chase your lure wherever you are. And number two, probably turn around. Because till they get to you, you're probably going to be passing them or something like that. They're going this way, you're going that way. They're going to end up passing your lure and have to turn 180 degrees to chase you down. avoid that. It's simple. Whenever you troll, you want to troll like the fish swims. Match the fish's behavior. So what that means is he's going to be up ahead of you swimming, and you're going to bring your boat, and as you pass him, those lures are going to come up and pass him, and he's naturally just going to fall into it. He might have to displace and get over behind it, but he doesn't have to turn. He can just guide himself over there easily, move in on his target, and then hit. What you're doing is you're giving that fish every opportunity to take your lure with as little effort as possible, whether it's a live bait or a lure. It's not going to change the presentation. This isn't 100%, so you can be running against the grain and still catch fish. We've all certainly done that. But what I'm saying is to primarily work your boat so it's in favor of what the fish is already doing. Don't fight against the system, and you'll find the system will reward you more often. This might be a simple conversation about, we'll call it boat control. But in this area, this diagram we're working, it's not Raystown, this is just a diagram someone drew up. I would recommend that this is 2 passes, at least 2 passes. You would start over here, go against the water flow, running your boards off to the starboard side, and I would run the contour with my downlines straight down in this 20 foot, maybe even just 15 foot because we're at Raystown. But I would go from the right side of this diagram to the left, and then I would cut up this channel. Now what I would probably do is I would probably turn around and come right back down this channel as well. Do a U-turn, and against the water flow, hit the other bank coming up this side and catch that point as well. And then I would 180 degrees, go back, and then come back up. So if I was going to work this area, this is probably what my boat pattern would look like. So I would go up, I would work it, and then turn around. Now, the obvious thing I'll point out here is that pattern that I just outlined for you is essentially going back and forth like a U-shape pattern, both sides of that channel and up through that, that side channel and such. But you'll notice that I'm hitting both of those banks, or all 3 of those banks in this case, in both directions. So what's the point? The point is I see a lot of folks who run a long stretch along a bank and then pull lines and move to the next one. Run a long stretch along that bank and then pull rods and go to the next one. If you're well experienced and you know exactly what you're doing, you can jump around this lake and hit different hot spots just like that and be very successful. But if you're not really sure if if the fish are finicky, if they're slow to take a hook, you're going to have to work that area kind of hard. And if you do this in both directions, upstream against the current and downstream with the current, what I think you're going to find out pretty quickly, if you have even just a little bit of success, you're going to find out that the fish are usually biting whenever you're going against the current. And they have a natural affinity to come in and follow your bait. They can follow it for even it might even be like 10 minutes they'll follow behind. And then at some point you'll turn, or you'll just speed up or slow down, inside turn, outside turn. Something will trigger a response in that fish and he'll hit that lure and take it. But most of your hits are probably going to come whenever you're going against the current. So those 2 things is what I wanted to point out to you, is whenever you're going against the current, you're going to have more success. And pay attention to your depths. So I'm going to jump onto Raystown and use this this diagram to kind of explain it at Raystown specifically. But do you guys have any questions so far on that? This is kind of basic stuff, and I will point out a kind of a cool thing. It doesn't matter how big your boat is. Whether you have $150,000 vessel, or you have one of them John boats that Raystown River Adventures rebuilt with a vintage Evinrude on it, or anything in between. Fish doesn't care how big your boat is, doesn't care how fancy your electronics are. You don't even need electronics to catch fish. It's just a tool. If you know your waters, you know your rigs, and you understand patterns, and you use some of the basic things like I'm going over in these live streams every Monday night at 8 o'clock, if you apply them to your fishing techniques, you don't even need electronics to succeed. Thank you for the hearts in the chat. Appreciate it. Let's go to Raystown. What do you say? So we were at H talking about John boats. Let's stay right at H. Continue talking about John boats. But instead of targeting bass, that is largemouth and smallmouth bass, lots of smallmouth at Raystown Lake. It's a great smallmouth fishery. Let's talk about striped bass. And we'll just use the H area. H does hold striper, if you guys were wondering. Notice the depth. Right away, that should be your key to why it holds striped bass. As a matter of fact, this mapping program, I think it's everything under 30 feet. Yeah, it looks like everything under 30 feet seems to be in blue. So if you want to know where on Raystown Lake to fish, just use this mapping program, and everywhere that's in blue is a potential striped bass holding location. So let's look at Nancy's, because it's all in blue. See how simple this mapping. You guys are going to be such good fishermen. Till spring comes, there'll be nothing to teach you. You'll have it all figured out. You'll be catching and releasing all those big trophy striped bass. If you haven't released a big striped bass yet, I want to encourage you guys to do that. As a matter of fact, start it off, make it like a peace offering to all the striped bass in the lake. The first big striped bass you catch, let it go. It'll be good for your heart, it'll be good for the fishery. You'll be glad you did it, I promise. Matter of fact, I want to take a note down about that. So tomorrow when I do the live stream, I want to talk about catch release a little bit, because I'm going to talk about striped bass. If you guys are enjoying this live stream, hit the thumb up for me. I want to make sure that I didn't miss your comment here. Let me just check it. Oh yeah, Jay, you got to go for smallmouth, my man. You know what? I'm fixing up my John boat, and it sounds like Phil and I are talking about maybe getting together and doing some John boat stuff. Maybe when I'm out on the John boat, you can be my plus one. John boats are best whenever you put two guys in it and you just go out and you just rip lips. So it'll be fun. We could do a bassin at Raystown trip, and or we could do like a bassin and crappie kind of trip. That'd be fun. Yeah, consider that an invite, Jay. If you want to do that, just talk to me. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be good to see you. Good to hang out. It'd be a good time. All right. Cool, guys. Hey, I appreciate your interaction too. All right, let's jump back to H here. So right here's the dock. Go to Rough and Ready and get your bait. You know, either get some large shiners or some trout. And if you have the equipment and the permit to do it, catch some shad or alewife. And you can actually catch that right here at H. Usually, it's usually pretty good bait here. So get some bait or just run artificials. So looking at H, I'm going to tell you the flow, the current here isn't too much. However, it is still here. regardless, you're going to present your lures as best you can with the consideration for current, because the fish are naturally down there and going to have a natural affinity to face into the current. That's where the bait's coming from. That's where their food source is. And even just with the current, it gives them better oxygenation. So they're going to face into the current just naturally. They're going to do that. So you want to favor that when you're out here. So what I would suggest is you put in here at H and understand the current is coming out of H down this way. And also from over toward Broomballs here, coming out this way. These are small feeder creeks. They just feed in just like a real gradual, just real light. And then ultimately, of course, the current is going out of H toward James Creek down here. But we're going to stay inside the no-wake zone. Essentially everything you see on the map here, right here, is where we're going to fish. Current coming in from up here and here, outflowing down the main, down the mouth here, down this way. So I think probably what I would do is if I have no electronics, so we're thinking about basic stuff, right? So we're gonna learn the basics and work them hard. So let's say you don't even have electronics. All you have is this mapping program, which is linked down below. This mapping program and your John boat. So you're going to go out and go as slow as possible. You might have to put the engine in gear and then take it out of gear a lot. Or if you have a trolling motor, just keep it below 1. So keep it slow. You want to make sure that, I'm talking live bait. And if you have artificials, you just want to put it next to the boat and make it look right. So you get your speed. You got to make your lure look correct. Just put it next to the boat and see how it looks. And what we're going to do is these pinch points that we've been talking about, we're going to try and work that parallel as we go in and out like a horseshoe along these edges here as you turn. Now back in here, I don't think you can fish back here. So this is a no wake zone, so just turn before that. And you're just going to come back in here and run like a horseshoe pattern. What I don't want you to do is just do a circle. You don't want to do a circle at H. And his reason for that is because you'll always be going the same direction each time you hit those spots. If that's your intent, by all means do that. But if you want to hit the area, you can do a figure 8 pattern through all of H here. And that'll get you hitting these patterns in different ways. And then you can do a circle. And then you can do a figure 8 and do a circle. Then do a figure 8 and do a circle. You understand? So it turns your presentation back and forth both ways. You could spend your whole day just strolling for striped bass right here at H. Focus on hitting these flats next to the pinch points. But these flats are typically, so this is all flat, all of H is, so it's all going to be holding. The striped bass are going to move pretty freely around this area. The idea here is you want to present your lure, you want the lure presentation to be oriented the way that the striped bass is oriented. So you want to match what the fish are doing. I didn't miss a comment there, did I? No. Now we're going to leave H and come out here. And it's great if you have electronics because you could ride along here with side scan and you could look to see if there's any marks worth fishing for. But if you have no electronics, you're just going to run some live bait or some lures out of your John boat, just start driving. You're going to do the same thing. Drive this edge, hold that parallel right there where the blue is. So you're going to hold right around 30 foot with your lures and your bait down around 15 to 20 foot. And then all the way out to the side, super shallow. As shallow as you can make them. Try to stay out of the trees by keeping your lures and stuff up. And you're going to run this shoreline and try not to run over any other boats or don't let them run over your lines. And then you're going to turn around and come back the other way. Do a turn. And then run back in the opposite direction so that you can hit the opposite bank going into the stream, into the current. Turn around and horseshoe this. So the horseshoe pattern is going to be really common. When you're fishing for striped bass, you're going to find yourself doing one of two things. You're either going to do a horseshoe pattern. That's kind of a very common pattern anyways. It works really well for me. Or you're going to understand this stuff and you're going to have some areas that you want to fish, and you're already going to know, because of your mapping program and your being conscious of the current, you're going to set your boat up before you even hit that area to already be oriented idealistically. So you'll put lines out, you'll run it one time, and then you'll pull lines and go on to the next spot. Or you saw a whole bunch of marks as you were going through, because you do have electronics, or you're convinced they're there, but none bit. So you might even troll up there, pull lines, zip back down around, put all lines out, refresh bait, and then pull through again. You might do that 2 or 3 times, or you might just, whatever you want to do. You could do a figure 8 and come right back down through. But there's some ideas to get you thinking about the spring bite as far as this map is concerned, as far as Raystown's concerned. And this is right here in the no wake area of H. I was doing this exact pattern in my John boat, not in H, but I was doing it right here. I was doing it out in this main area, down along this bank, like this. I was doing this horseshoe right there. You see how nicely that works? And I was coming this way, and I hooked up to a striper somewhere around in here. I think I was starting to make this turn, and I loaded up. So it's probably right about there. Trying to zoom in. Maybe I shouldn't have. So right about there, I hooked into one. And this was on my John boat, and I think this one was, I want to say 16 pounder. Might have been a 16 pounder, something like that. I think so. And I was in a Striped Bass Association striper fishing contest, and I turned out, I weighed that one in. It was not big enough to win, but I weighed a fish in. So I have participated in the competitions there at Raystown Lake, though I'm not real big on competing when it comes to fishing. It kind of, anyways, I have some opinions, but I still support them. I think they're doing a great job. Striped Bass Association, everybody should join. Now, I'm glazing over this now, so I haven't got into the nitty-gritty of it, but what I tell folks is learn the basics and work them hard. I know the fisherman community here around Raystown Lake. Most of us are blue-collar background kind of people. We know how to work hard. What's difficult is keeping that mindset when we go fishing. Because a lot of times when we go fishing, it's like, oh, I just want to relax for a change because I work so hard during the week. It's understandable. If you'll take that hard work aspect, though, and apply it to fishing, you're going to find that you can take these simple techniques and work them really hard, and you'll have success at Raystown Lake. So that's a little bit on striper fishing. I don't talk striper too much with you guys. I'm glad to be able to do it a little bit tonight. I wonder if I have a picture. I'm running through my pictures right now. I wonder if I have one of my... I know you guys might have... Well, I don't know for sure, but maybe you've seen it. Maybe you've seen my picture of my first ever striped bass. Let me see if I can bring one up. It was a John boat catch, of course. Yeah, I'll look for it while we talk. What do you say, guys? Any questions? Appreciate you guys watching, hanging in there with me. I figured I'd stream for another half hour, and I think we're getting kind of close to that. So if you have any questions before I shut her down, Now would be a good time. Flipping through my old pictures trying to find my striped bass picture. Black log, I'm going to tell you that the speed for striper is going to vary depending on what you're pulling. Are you talking live bait? If you're pulling artificials, I'm going to tell you just lay it in the water next to the boat and go slow at first and then speed up until that bait looks right. You bet, Trophy. I'm here for you. If the bait looks right, black log, that's the speed. Fish aren't too picky. So as they're not too picky as far as like they can speed up. When it's time to eat, they got all the energy in the world. We just don't want to have them put too much energy in. We don't want them put. We don't want to ask too more of them than what we have to get the job done. So I'm going to tell you, just take that lure or bucktail, whatever you're drawing, until it looks good. The live bait, live bait's a little different. No, it's not the same thing with live bait. With live bait, my simple recommendation is to go as slow as possible without stopping. What does that look like? It can look like I've caught a lot of fish just by putting the engine into gear and then taking it out of gear, so the boat's just kind of creeping. And if I'm on fish, if I believe they're right there and they're with me, I don't want to leave. So I'll put it into gear and then take it out of gear just to get the boat to move a little bit. And I've got my bait down beside the boat and I'm just moving it through the school, and I'll just kind of creep along like that. To call that a speed is crazy. It's essentially downlining and just parking on them. That technique I used a lot because I didn't have spot lock. I don't even think I had a trolling motor on the boat at the time, so I was just using my main engine on, and I would just engage the gear and take it out of gear. If you want to see an example of how successful that can be, I will, let me jump over to my channel here and I'll show you what I mean. It is similar to drifting, yes, but it's not drifting though because you're using power. It's always surprising to me when I look back on my videos because it's like, holy cow, I got a lot of videos. Can't remember what I called it, or I would just look it up. I think I do know what it's called, actually. Let me try it. YouTube's search engine isn't helping me very much. Yeah, sure. I must be wrong about the name of it. I'm going to find it. Now it's a matter of principle. I think I know what the problem is. I think it's on my other channel. I'm sure that's what it is. It's been a while. I'll find it though. So you guys know already I have two channels. I have my music channel and then I have my fishing channel. I used to upload fishing content onto my music channel, so I've stopped doing that. I maintain my Randall Rydes Fishing. This is my other channel. That's what it is. So it's this one right here. I'm going to share it. So it's in the chat. Called Beach Sweater. Yeah, I'm sure you understand, but what it is, Black Log, is if somebody watches this video later, I want them to be able to reference the video, because you may have even seen this video, but I want them to be able to have that for reference if they come around. It might even be in a year or two later, but they'll have this to be able to click on. But that's it. It's called Lewistown Lake Striped Bass Fishing Beach Sweater. That's what I remembered calling it, Beach Sweater. But if you click on that and you watch it, you'll notice the reason I called it Beach Sweater. Where's it at? I was in the midst of, right here, I was in the midst of changing out my my vest and such, my jacket, and I got a fish on right then. So you see the rod bending over? It's actually my father's old fishing rod. It has been DX'd. But I'm doing this exact technique we were talking about. I'm using the main engine, and I'm just doing real small, like figure eights or even, circles, dragging my live bait right on the bottom. And I had a couple lines up, but for the most part, the fish were holding tight on the bottom. And so that's where I was keeping the bait. They were very inactive. And so I just really had to just beat them up, just going back and forth, back and forth. So this is actually near the resort, so near the Entrecon Bridge. You can see the water's super chocolatey, and so this is a great time to do this technique, is whenever the water is heavy stained, because you don't want to move too much. As the water clears up, you can move a little quicker. So you can change that presentation based on what the water conditions are. But this technique worked really good this day. I caught 2 striper in this video, and it's linked in the comments. You can watch the whole thing. I'm just going to let this play until we pull this fish up and you guys can see it, just for a bookend on this little catch. right here. So what I'm doing is I have basically a Carolina rig. It's just a weight, an inline weight, and then a leader back about 3 or 4 feet to a hook. And on that hook, I had a shad or an alewife, I can't remember. And I was just dragging this, essentially dragging it on the bottom. Maybe it was kind of bouncing on the bottom, maybe a foot up, something like this. And I'm laughing about the guy behind me. He's one of the Striped Bass Association members. He's just kind of hanging out, watching me. And I'm bragging on my dad's fishing rod there. And there it is. I picked up this little striper. I'm so proud. Striped bass fishing is special, guys. The techniques used to catch striped bass are pretty mellow. I often say that it's kind of boring. The techniques to catch are kind of boring, but that doesn't take away from how fun it is to catch big striper at Lewistown Lake. So that's the technique being played out for you. Of course, it works. You can go watch this video and see it in its entirety. And I end up catching 2 fish. But I'm going to do a little release here with you, and then I'll close this video out. You can watch it. You can go back and check it out if you want. The full thing is just kind of chaos. But it's the best kind of chaos. You'll notice that I'm rocking the fish back and forth. I don't like push-pull revive. I do a rock back and forth. Yeah, there he goes. So there you go. So that technique works really good. If you guys get a chance to release a couple fish here in the spring, I hope you take advantage of it. That was an early spring catch right there. So it's pretty much just like that. We fish for all of it, huh, Matt? You remember the video? Oh, great. Good deal. So that technique is being played out there. Simply put, if you're pulling live bait, you can hardly go wrong with this simple advice. Go as slow as possible without stopping. That is a great place to start. That being said, as the water gets more and more clear, you will have more liberty with speed. You can speed up. I'm still going to tell you to keep it under 1. So even if you're pulling live bait and you're going over 1 mile per hour, I would tell you to slow it down. If you're drawing live bait and you're not getting hit, especially in clear water, I'll tell you to downsize your hook. So there's a couple tips. These are basics. I know a lot of this stuff is old hat. What I see on the water, though, is the more people know about it, they seem to deviate from the basics. The basics will always be the basics. If you'll go out on this water with the basics foremost in your mind, and you just work hard at them, you take that hard work ethic that you have and just apply it to fishing, and it's going to come together. So stick to the basics, but work them very hard. There's a couple tips there for some striped bass fishing. Very good. So I'll show you where we caught that bass that we just watched. I'm going all the way downstream. This is the Entrecon Bridge here. Right here's the Entrecon Bridge. This is the resort. And I caught that fish somewhere out in here. Shouldn't be any surprise. There's a big flat. You see the blue area. Like I said, anywhere on this mapping system that I've shared with you, if you see a blue area, that's striped bass area. So if you needed to narrow down this lake to know where to go for striped bass, There you go. You can start there. Blue is good. So I've mentioned it a few times in this live stream, the Raystown Rendezvous is coming up on April 10th through the 12th. The registration is right here on my website. There's a link down below. I'm going to add it whenever I finish this live stream. But the link for the Raystown Rendezvous is down below. You can always go to randallrydes.com for everything Randall Rydes. But I'm encouraging you guys to do this because it helps out a ton. It takes some of the burden off of my shoulders if you just help out. And so it's simple registration. It's not much. It is voluntary. I want you guys to show up first and foremost. But if you can contribute, that would be great. I'd appreciate it. So there's the registration for you to follow. And I am going to spend about another 5 or 10 minutes streaming. And I'm going to shut it down for the day. This did not interfere with tomorrow night's live stream, so we're still going to have a live stream tomorrow night, every Monday night through the winter here while it's cold. I'm going to stream every night from for about an hour, about 8 p.m. So today was just bonus, just for fun. And if you guys enjoyed it, do the thumbs up. Check to make sure you're subbed here on this channel. I got like 60% of people who come back and watch my channel over and over and over again, not subbed. So if you would just sub up, I'd appreciate it. Follow the links to all the channels that I've shared in this video. They're all down below. And sub them up as well. They're our Raystown YouTube family. So let's support all our locals, just like we support local stores and local builders and local talent and shops and artists. Let's support our local YouTube artists as well. So appreciate that. Thanks for checking in for the live stream. If you have any questions for me before you go, now's a great time to ask. I'm happy to hang out. I don't have anything on the schedule. It's just I got church this evening, but other than that, I've got nothing to keep me, so I'm happy to talk. But if you have any questions, just hit me up. Here, say something in the chat. Let me know. One of these days, I think that day is directly ahead of you. Yep. And I got to encourage folks here in the spring when you're catching striper. I want to encourage you to release. There's a reason for that. We want to protect our striped bass fishery that we have here at Raystown Lake. And there's only a few ways to do that. One of the biggest ways to do it is to release those early spring catches. If the water temperature is cold, they release and they revive. They're in good shape. Summertime catches, all those striper die. We have the facts behind that. It'll swim off. It'll kick off. You'll think you did a good thing. And in 2 days, that fish is dead. That's what the numbers show us. That's what all the studies say. If the water is warm, do not release your striper. I'm going to die on that hill, guys. Striped Bass Association is a great group. Let's do what we can to preserve the efforts that they're putting into it. And there's a lot of people donating time and money to that program. And hopefully you're a member or you're at least a supporter. But a great thing to do would be your first striped bass of the spring season, to offer it back to the lake. Release it. Set it free. It'll be good for your heart. It'll be good for the fishery. And I think it'll make it easier to have a responsible catch-release program in your personal fishing program, you know, your personal life. That's right. It is the way to fish. Cool, man. I appreciate you guys checking in with me and stuff. Yeah, if it's not legal, it's not legal. If it's a dead fish, but it's not legal, you release it. It's not worth the fine, guys. So, Phil brings up a good, Raystown River Adventures brings up a good point. I can't tell you, like up at Lake Erie, I've caught walleye that were too small. But they caught the hook, and it ripped up their gills. I mean, it's a dead fish, bleeding all over the deck. It's too small. Back into the drink with them. It's not worth it. I am not getting a fine. I'm going to get caught with that thing in my ice box. It's a dumb thing. It's a dumb regulation, I know. But that is the regulation. Yeah, make sure it's... If it's in your ice box, make sure it's legal, folks. Do not compromise on that. And listen, this is just some guy talking about fishing. This is my opinion. This is my encouragement to you. Every fisherman out there has to take it onto themselves. You have the onus of responsibility of what happens on your boat and on your trips. So Randall doesn't have any say over that. This is all on you. Not this guy. You choose. I guess with that said, I should just bid you guys adieu. I think it was a solid live stream. It's just a lot of fun to hang out with you on this snow day. Hopefully you guys got something out of it. Tomorrow night we're going to stream again, and it's going to be a little bit more organized. I'm going to kind of cover some exact, some more specific things in my live stream. It's just from 8 o'clock till about 9 o'clock. I usually go for about an hour, but most of you are familiar. And until tomorrow night, I'll just bid you adieu. Go shovel your walks. Snow is heavy, but I think it's actually tapering off now. We're about that time where the snow is slowing down. But get out and clear those roads and your sidewalks and stuff, but don't hurt your back. Don't hurt your back. It's not worth it. You can always break it up into 2 or 3 days if you got to, but take your time or ask a young neighbor to help you out. But we'll get through this snow as well. So all the best to you. Have a good night. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow evening. Live stream 8 p.m. Monday nights while it's cold out. So while it's cold out, I'm going to be having these live streams, but I'll let you guys know each week whether it's on or not. So that's it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Randall Rydes. It's good talking with you. Much love and much respect. Good night, guys.